All right, welcome back, everybody. We are here for the C League Grand Finals between Elvish, Soulknife, and Freefall. I'm super stoked. Hope you guys are as well. Welcome, everybody, again. I'm Mr. Leapfrog. Join me tonight, Dexatron. How's it going, Val?
It is going great, and we have ourselves a great C League final here tonight. You have one of the hottest teams in the entirety of C League in Freefall coming in here as one of your grand finals. On the other side, Elvish Soulknife had to fight their way back up into this grand finals after taking a loss to Freefall in the upper bracket finals. But hey, they're here now. They are looking for revenge, and they are hoping to be able to find it here tonight.
Yeah, as I alluded to in my tweet just a moment ago, again, the series between these two teams is tied 1-1. You know, they played each other in the kickoff clash. Elvish may have taken the better, the better of them in that first matchup. But you see in that upper finals, they took the series 3-1, pretty commanding fashion. But now it all comes down to this, the playoffs, the grand finals, the grand spectacle. All comes down to one single 1-4 match between these two teams to figure out who is going to be the better of the two. You can see the tail of the tape right now as well, how they got here.
Yeah, you see it right here. Elvish Soulknife and Freefall both had the same path basically up until those upper bracket finals, but Freefall able to beat Elvish Soulknife there. Elvish Soulknife, though, only a brief stay in that lower bracket there. However, got taken to 5 against a Pachimari team who Elvish Soulknife beat in that upper bracket round 1 there. So it's one of those things where, hey, maybe that Pachimari team might have figured some stuff out, or Elvish Soulknife just maybe played with their food a little bit too much here. But hey, past is in the past. Grand finals is right here, right now.
Yeah, I got to cast that match. It was one hell of a lower finals. I hope you guys got to keep up on that. If not, it's definitely a VOD worth going back and watching. The YouTube is going to be chock full of amazing matches. I mean, you see all throughout here, the kickoff tournament itself was a giga banger. Elvish was obviously one of the victorious teams in the C League. And then all throughout the regular season as well, the teams were neck and neck. They both finished 4-1. They looked really respectable going into it, and then they wound up clashing in that winners finals. So definitely a matchup I think these two teams are definitely experienced with, and they're ready for. I know they've been screaming it up and definitely been trying to talk it over with their coaches and with their teams and whatnot. But now it's game time. It all comes down to this. So.
Yeah, all comes down to this. Riding hot streaks here, especially for Freefall. You saw it there. Ever since that loss they had to Pachimari in the regular season, their first map loss was actually against Elvish Soulknife in this upper bracket finals here. So maybe Elvish Soulknife was able to figure something out there, but they're going to have to figure it out here tonight. Right now, again, a lot more on the line here. 1-4, best of 7, unless we have a draw, which is something that happened yet, but definitely something that could happen. However, getting away from all the speculation, let's get into these teams here, starting off with Freefall. Keegs, Sonic Ronic, Triggered, Jinx, Ono, Donk, and Wana here. Again, been one of the best teams throughout the entirety of C League this season, and you can tell why, especially when seeing some of these names on this roster.
Yeah, obviously, if you recognize some of these names from the accolades tab of the website, you already know MVP Sonic Ronic. Dude, this guy's been phenomenal this entire season. Makes sense why he's one of the MVPs out here, as well as the role stars of Donk and Keegs as well. So they have a fully stacked roster. I mean, it's rare to have one, MVP caliber, player on your team, but to have both DPS as role stars, I don't know, man. It's gonna be one tough matchup for the Elvish Soulknife.
Speaking of that Elvish Soulknife squad right now, let's bring them up. Aiden, Super, Denji, Rockcrafts, Chaos, Moonfire, Blue, and Yurei here for them. Again, this is a solid roster. I recognize a lot of these names here from the past. Denji, that's one of Mr. Leaford. I have to imagine you've casted with Denji. He's one of us. He's a caster. Always fun to see, members of the prod crew get this far in tournaments like this.
Yeah, they have a little bit of a buff. They get to watch all the other teams. They get to cast over them, but obviously the skill speaks for itself. So Denji, one of the more knowledgeable casters I love to get on the mic with. So it's nice to see him here in the grand finals, along with another role star of Blue and Aiden. Again, 3 role stars on each of the teams. We're in for one heck of a match tonight.
Yeah, that kind of just let you know these have been the best two teams throughout the entirety of the regular season. Both these teams had, like I said, 3 role stars on it. Both of them were, recognized as being the best of the best here in C League. And again, I think you have to go back to the start of the season as well, when I think I kept on hearing a lot of people talking about how much talent that there was left in the C League draft. So it's not a surprise that we've seen some of that talent really rise up here as the season has gone on. But still waiting, I believe, on map picks and bans here. However, actually, no, we do know what our first map of the series will be. We'll be getting started off, not down under, but down really close to the, not equator, but the pole here in Antarctic Peninsula.
I don't know if it's the northern pole, the southern pole, so I'm getting kind of tossed up. Is it southern? Okay, I would guess the northern part. I don't know. It makes sense. Yeah, I was expecting to see Santa Claus at some point, but I guess not. We're gonna go south of the equator, going down to the pole. Antarctic, man. It's weird because one of those stages that I personally enjoy, but we don't get to see a whole lot often, considering it's one of the newer changed maps, right? Not the most recent change, but did come across a little bit of some adaptation to it, and still not popular amongst the people.
Actually, I think this has been a map, again, it was part of the refreshes at the start of the year here, where it was finally brought back in after being, I think, basically unavailable for, I think, half a year, even more than that, maybe a year there. And I think a lot of people have liked it, but just hasn't been in a lot of map pools here as of late. And you look at the map pool here in BPL, it's a little bit wide open when it comes to it, and teams like to go other places. However, Antarctic Peninsula, I feel like, has slowly been coming into a spot right now where teams are really much liking it. It fits into a lot of different play styles, much like a lot of other control maps do. But again, it really, really comes down to how you want to play. And Elvish Soulknife, they want to make sure they do not see a May here on an already cold map.
Yeah, gotta try to keep it warm and get her off home court territory. I respect that decision, but it's definitely one of those things. I think if Denji's going to start off on the roster, at least for tanking for Elvish, I would imagine they're going to want to lean more towards the brawl style comps, maybe the Ramatra, the Orisa, and kind of disposing of a May wall to keep you from getting isolated from your team definitely helps out a ton. Both of the teams are pretty even when it comes to the Antarctic itself. They're both 1-0. And yeah, look at that. See, I expected a Ramatra pick, and I think Freefall did as well, so they're just going to get rid of the Ramatra altogether. So maybe they're going to have to play a little bit more brawl-centric with the Mauga or the Orisa, or they want to slow things down, because we already know that Denji is role star for a reason on a couple different tanks along with the Sigma.
Yeah, and I mean, I think when you look at these two bans here, there's two pretty safe bans just in general for any control map. You get rid of Ramatra, a really oppressive brawl poke tank out there. You get rid of the May as well, just able to section off team members away from the rest of their team. A lot of the time, it's the tank where you have to use a lot of your abilities to try to keep your tank alive there. I think these are two really good bans coming out from these two teams, especially because it really, I don't think, hurts you this early on to get rid of these two heroes for these two teams right now, as you're going to want to save some of your more maybe crucial bans for a little bit later in this series here.
Yeah, and that's something important that people have to realize. Like, you know which preferred characters and heroes. We have a lot of footage on these two teams in particular, and with these teams having a lot of experience both from scrims and just regular season, and again, they played against each other multiple times, so they know exactly what to expect when they come across these teams. But you don't want to burn those important bans too early on. You want to save them, because again, this is a first to 4. There is plenty of matches to go in the series, and you don't want to save those crucial bans for when it's like go time, when it's you're on set point, series point, and you want to be able to close out the tournament. You want to have those in your back pocket.
Yeah, that's why we're probably not seeing something like a Kiri ban, a Lucio ban come out right now. Potentially even maybe, I don't remember if Demon's even available in BPL right now. I'm going to say maybe, I don't remember. But there's still going to be other crucial bans a little bit later on in the series, especially with, the rules here, rosters. If everyone's here, everyone has to play. You might really just try to punish someone in a moment where they have to play a map. So it's going to be really interesting to see as this series goes on throughout the night here. But again, coming into this one here, Freefall have only dropped one map here in their last, I believe, 5 or 6 series, dating all the way back to the regular season. Actually, no. Yeah, actually, it is one map in their last 6 series here. So, I mean, if you are Elvish Soulknife, you're just trying to get off to a good start here. You want to be able to make Freefall second guess themselves. Make them make some swaps early on. Make them make swaps late. However, you just want to get off to a really good start here, and you want to get off to it fast as we head in to Icebreaker.
Man, I'm excited here, Dex. I mean, again, what a turn of events. We get the two favorites to win the tournament meeting in the grand finals. You couldn't have asked for a better matchup between these two teams, and I know they're hungry for the win. Both of these teams, you know, Freefall want to get that second win. They want to take the lead in terms of like a head-to-head series between the two. But again, I think Elvish is ready for them this time. And with Denji starting off on the Malga, this is kind of what I was expecting. And with Rockcrafts, again, a really strong Mei player on the Elvish Soulknife, but instead forced over to the Torbjorn. Still a character that has a force to be reckoned with. But here we go. Grand Finals map number 1, starting us off on Antarctic Peninsula. Let's go.
I'm honestly surprised to see the Torb stick here for Rockcrafts. It means that they must be expecting something on the other side, maybe something like a Tracer, maybe something like a Cat Bastion that you're seeing from Elvish Soulknife here, but no, you don't see that at all. Instead, a really close brawl comp coming out here from Freefall. Elvish Soulknife, they have to win this in the poke game. They have to win this in the neutral coming out here. Denji and Super can really be able to melt down and make sure that Joe Badong doesn't find a lot of value here on this Ryan early on, but Ryan already getting rid of that turret. Rockcraft's gonna have to wait another 10 seconds to get that back online.
Yeah, they've already relinquished point control, but I mean, again, it's all the matter of Super, whether he can get that initial pick off with Blue, you know, helping, you know, carry him anywhere he needs to go. It's gonna be super important, but when Denji falls, I mean, just when I was worried about Freefall not having access to that point, they immediately take it back over with Killer Queen on the quick Lucio speed engage.
And that's the problem here with this Cat Bastion comp from Soulknife, especially with having Sad Blue Whale play this Cat. Yeah, you want to be able to carry around your Bastion, but Cat is just a great source of healing as well. When you put that up in the sky, you make the rest of your team very vulnerable right there, and you saw it. Sonic being able to go in there, get rid of Denji, now swaps over to the Arista for a little bit more survivability and a little bit better brawl potential as well, in my opinion, compared to the Malga here. They want to be able to kind of still play this very close brawl that Freefall wants to play. Elvish, though, sticking with that Cat Bastion here for one more fight at least. They just need to get something going here, but Freefall in the right spots, making sure that Cat Bastion doesn't find any value.
Oh, they speared maybe the Reaper off the map, but he's gonna be careful. Watch out for the High Noon. Very early High Noon built up from Triggered. Winds up falling, gets the trade in their favor, but now it's just a matter of if Denji and Rock can be able to clutch it up, and it looks like they will be able to. Clutch mode from the trifecta. Yeah, Chaos winds up getting MVP the last match in the lower finals, so she's looking really hot, still keeping it up with the rest of the team. I mean, you always have to respect the Kiriko, because a quick little Kiriko headshot can really put a damper on things.
Yeah, you do, and I can't believe Denji got rid of the gold one right there. That's like incredibly rare, but punched it away, and now Joe Badon going over to the Arista of their own. The mirror coming out right now, and again, I feel like the Rhine wasn't necessarily going to work when the Malga was playing. I think when this Arista came out from Denji, the Rhine was not going to work even any more better.
Yeah, again, it's all about survivability for both these tanks. Who's going to be able to outlast the other ones? But again, when you lose some of your core damage dealers like Triggered, you know, you saw how fast he was able to build up that High Noon. It's all contributed to his both accuracy and just being able to pump out tons of damage. Super able to do the same thing, maybe a little bit easier with the assistance from Blue. But again, it's just a matter of how do you get onto this point? Because I mean, you had a lot easier time when you had a big shield, but now matching Kitsune is on the point as well, looking for some picks. But a beat coming out from Killer Queen to kind of keep everybody nice and healthy. Denji, no connection on the Terror Surge, but now Artillery Strike as well, just to kind of put some more pressure onto the team. Reaper potentially getting isolated from the rest of them, but already the damage has been done. But Doink helping get the picks that they need. Getting speared off the map, but it looks like they should be able to help flip the point and secure some more percentage onto their side.
Expensive fight there, though, for Freefall. 3 ultimates invested in that one. Really won it late. Not really, I think, off the back of any of those ultimates. Just a nice kind of scrappy team fight. Chaos and Super did invest their ultimates in there as well, so it's not like Elvish didn't use anything, but you already see Sonic getting off of that Reaper now, going over to the Xion instead. A little bit more, I think a little bit quicker, a little bit more quick burst of damage that you want with that Xion here, but you have the Deadeye and the Terror Surge online as the Molten Core comes out from Rockcrafts on point, and Freefall just taking the point for free.
Yeah, let's say a quick little turnaround for their team. That is a big mistake on the side of Freefall. Normally, you have to utilize your speed boost to get out of the fights, but have to use it to actually contest the point. Nobody gets onto it in time. The Molten Core just zoning them off entirely. And that's what I was talking about. Roxcraft plays these unorthodox characters, both with the Mei and the Torbjorn, but finding a lot of value.
And right now, Sad Blue Whale has the catnap online here. Honestly, I look at this, I'm looking at Triggered right now. That's going to be the person you're going to probably need to stall or stagger out of this one right here. Deadeye coming out, Sad Blue Whale watching it here, but instead it's going to be used as a little bit of a zoning thing, and this is where you need to be able to find Denji, and Triggered going to be able to do that.
Okay, they get rid of Denji off the point, and the picks start stacking up on the side of Freefall. They're going to get it to 99%, but they will flip it back over, and another opportunity for them to close it out. And you already know what's going to happen. A final push here, 99 to 99. It can't go any other way here next.
It can't go any other way, but look at Elvish here. They have catnap, not that far away from a Kitsune, not that far away from Terra, not that far away from the artillery. Freefall really has nothing. You're looking at Keegs, you're looking at Sonic, you'll be able to build its ultimates quickly, but you need to be able to survive the onslaught here early on from Elvish.
Yeah, Amp It Up already used from Killer Queen, so they're not going to have anything to sustain this damage, but Keegs getting so much closer to the Kitsune Rush is going to come out first from Chaos. She's quick on the trigger, but now it's going to be a later retaliation. Kitsune and Terror Surge help to clean up the rest of the stragglers on the point, and what a nail biter for our first map. I mean, as we find the win with the unorthodox Torbjorn and actually making it look pretty successful.
Like I said, coming in this one here, Elvish Soulknife need to get off to a very fast start against Freefall to let Freefall know, hey, we're still here. We are still a threat. But I will say this, the one map that Elvish did take off Freefall in the upper finals was the control map here. So again, and I think a lot of teams might look at these control maps just kind of like 50-50. I think I heard people describe it as coin flips that time, but you look at the stats here throughout that first one, pretty even like we expected, 9999, not a big surprise to see that. I mean, Freefall, yeah, they lost that map, has a little bit of those worse stats, but again, only 1 point was really close. You're already seeing some potential swaps come out here from Freefall as Joe Badonk going to go back over to that Malga here, at least for the moment, but I'm honestly kind of surprised to see Elvish Soulknife stick with his Cat Bastion, especially being in on this point. The small or the low ceiling, I think, makes it a little bit harder to have this Cat Bastion actually fly around and get value.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's all a matter of how can you get your DPS to survive a little bit longer than the opposing DPS line. With Sonic going over to the Xion, maybe it's going to help out a little bit, but a very aggressive angle from Donk. Stomping on two. Yeah, Chaos has to use her Suzu just so early on in that fight, but it was not going to be enough. And an aggressive angle from Donk actually able to help close out that first fight very quickly.
Yeah, they got the perfect kind of play there from Elvish, just going into that small room. That allows Joe Badonk to be able to find so much with that charge in right there. And Freefall now, I think this composition is a little bit better comprised here for this point. Soulknife, you see, again, more swaps coming out from Denji, already on their third tank now, going over to the Sigma. Want to be able to poke out this Malga here a little bit, want to be able to hit them down, but you're already seeing some stuns come out there. Sonic commits some vehicular manslaughter.
I mean, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm talking about. You play this aggressive angle when you're Donk. You don't mind this trade because guess what? You still wind up winning the team fight. You essentially force out Suzu from Chaos every single fight because they're not going to be able to sustain with only having the Kiriko as basically your healer, because Cat is just going to be kind of taxing the Bastion around throughout the entire map. So hopefully they can try to find some sort of point pressure. Donk's going to be able to make it back in time, so maybe they just drop down and contest this point, but now you have to worry about the flying Bastion soaring through the sky. Killer Queen maybe caught out of position, but winds up getting into a safe spot. And again, the point is still being pressured at this moment, so they have to find a way to get it down and lock it up. But again, Denji putting so much pressure, forcing the sprint out from Bonk. Bonk getting super low, and now I think we're going to see a Kitsune rush from the... Oh, wow, yep, Kig's going to wind up having to push it out. And Triggered popping the high noon. Very low single-digit HP, not going to be able to find the targets, but the job was done. Zoned off the entire team and forcing it back to the spawn doors.
I mean, still going back and forth here. 2 kills going each way right now, but there you go. Sonic and Trigger going to be able to even it out for their team right now. But now it's all up to Sonic to be able to clean this up. They're going to be able to get rid of Sad Blue Whale, trying to be able to find Super right now, but Super can heal themselves up here. The X-Shot or X-Fade not going to be able to find anything right there. Super going to be able to kind of clutch this one out, but Freefall, they're going to try to stall this one out as long as they possibly can right now, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, they just have to commit. This is a last fight opportunity for them. They do not want to wind up losing this point. 100-0. Kitsune Rush able to help, bait. That's good from Donk. I mean, uses Cage Fight, baits out another ultimate on the side of Elvish. It's a 99% hold now, so now it's just a one-fight victory for this point. And big ups to Sonic. I thought this was definitely going to go in favor of Elvish a long time ago, but forced out a couple pieces of util and made things a little bit harder. And now we're starting to see the Sonic that we know. The reason why he's a role star.
but still, now Elvish Soulknife has control of the point. They can kind of play or dictate where a lot of these fights are going to be fought here. Freefall, I mean, you can go charging and you have this spree online from Sonic, but do you really want to invest that right now? Catnap and Molten Core already ready here, as Rockcraft's actually used that Molten Core pretty early on in the Catnap. I think it's just going to drag Jobadok into it.
Oh, wow! I can't believe the Molten Core saved them! Rock's got the big triple kill, but Trigger getting a double, maybe a triple himself, trying to pull out the hammer, but not gonna be enough. And now it's just up to Denji. 1v1, not gonna happen. And Keegs showing up when the team needs him. Another roll star for a reason. I mean, that came down to the wire. It came down to another single 1v1 for the point, and unbelievably so. They're able to bring it back and take us to a final point here for map number 1.
Yeah, and like I said, I thought Freefall's composition was going to work out a lot better on that map right there. The Cat Bastion struggled to really find a lot of value. Again, small ceiling, not a lot of room to kind of fly around, and just a lot of small side rooms where everyone on Freefall can kind of just go and hide out and wait for that turret form to go away right there. And Freefall has honestly played that Cat Bastion really well, or against that Cat Bastion really well. No one really being punished out by it so far. And yeah, you've seen Super and them really be able to find some value with it, but I think now is the time to get off it. As you do see him make some swaps, Super over to the Cassidy, Sad Blue Whale going over to the Wu Yang now instead. Completely different comp coming out here now. This is more poke focused for Elvish Soulknife. They want to be able to try to win them in this poke phase, in the very neutral phase, because they want to be able to punish Jobadonk as they come charging in, because that's exactly what they've been showing us so far on this Malga, is that they are not afraid to just go charging headfirst into any fight. But right now, they need a lot of help.
Yeah, let's say first, only 5 seconds left before this point unlocks, and Donk not having a whole lot of resources to his name, no Suzu in sight, and yeah, he gets super low, winds up getting blown up. Not going to be a fight successful for them, and I wonder they're going to make some retaliatory changes as well. But again, the way that Freefall was playing, they were baiting out Suzu, super aggressive, the way that I think the Elvish were intending to try and do, but weren't finding a whole lot of value with that flying Catstian.
Yeah, but right now, I think Sablu Will going over this Wu Yang is going to work out great, because you're able to get a decent amount of damage into the backline from a very far away, and they've been focusing in on triggers. They've been focusing in on Sonic, who's very low right now. But, I mean, again, Jobadonk goes charging in, and he loses 75% of their health.
Oh, and I think the rest of the 25 is coming shortly thereafter. No, he's just going to go straight back in again. Denji, full HP, Chaos getting shut down. She did not see that coming. Silver Bullet on top of a big werewolf stomp on his head. Just a perfect duo, perfect combo to close out that fight quickly. Unless Rockcrafts has something to say about it. Again, another big pick for him. Denji gets super low. Sonic able to help clean up the rest of that fight. But again, you can see Trigger just on a tear, just looking for bodies to stack up on top of each other one more time.
And you get rid of that turret right there. Good kind of fight there from Freefall. Yeah, you lost Jobadonk early, but you're okay with that. You especially with how your DPS line has been playing, and they've been playing very well. But now Elvish Soulknife can come back into this fight. 4 ultimates about to be online for them. Freefall's really only going to have their support ultimates and maybe a Deadeye from Trigger, which is easily kiteable here for Elvish. Super, though, they could really try to buy some face first here, but Sad Blue Whale, like I said, this Wu Yang swap was going to work out wonders for them as it gets rid of Trigger, who is hiding in that backline.
Yep, Suzu comes out as well, so now it's go time. I think Denji's going to pretty much capitalize on this as well as that beat. Yeah, so now you can just chunk down a big nerf to the Lucio beat, so it makes the Sigma Graphitic Flux that much better. And now that Super's got access to the major perk, the Silver Bullet, now we're on an even playing field, and this is not where Freefall wants to be. I mean, they got a couple percentage on the board, but I think this map is starting to slowly slip out from their grip.
Yeah, and Elvish Soulknife, though they used 2 ultimates in that last fight. Freefall, the beat, you'd probably like to have it back considering it was a lost fight, but you're going to have a lot of ultimates of your own here. This Deadeye, though, from Trigger, you might just need to use it to buy some space so we cannot get caught off by that accretion here as the Molten Core out from Rockcrafts.
Sonic finds him falling again. Yeah, they're not going to have anything to help contest this point. I mean, they have the Kitsune Rush, but I mean, nothing to actually stack up with it. They were really hoping that Satsuriki Spear is going to help them out. Denji using Eat super early on there, so he has to just kite this high noon. Not going to be able to get the right connection either. Not going to be able to find anything. Everybody hiding for the hole. And again, 82% and counting. Cage fight does come out, and no Eat from Denji, so he's going to have to take the brunt of the force unless he wants to get him blown up. And Satsuriki Spree comes out so late and not going to be able to find anybody. So much HP on the field, and Rockcraft so desperately wants to find the hammer kill. Not going to be able to find it. Has to just do it with the regular bolt gun, and that's going to do it for map number 1, Elvish Soulknife. An answer to clap back against the Malga.
A really good map there from Elvish Soulknife. Freefall, they made it interesting, but Elvish Soulknife, they were able to make swaps of their combinations here throughout this entire first map, and you could tell they were finding a lot of value with it. The only time where it really didn't find any value was that second point, where you could kind of tell they were struggling a little bit there. They make a swap over to this third and final point and have it be that poke composition where Freefall was just getting caught out time after time again, and they were really being able to punish that Malga there the entirety of that map. Elvish Soulknife takes our first map in this series, but I must remind everybody again, when these two teams met in the upper bracket finals, it started off the exact same way, and Freefall won the next 3 maps to win that series.
Yeah, they're looking really, really solid to start us off again. I'm super excited to see how they try to adapt and what type of changes they're going to be looking for. But again, not a super consequential ban when it comes to just banning the Ramatra and the Mei and stuff like that. But that will play a factor because, again, Rock, I think is one of the stronger Meis that we have here in the C League. And now that ban is gone essentially for the rest of the series, I'm not sure what they have left in store.
Well, I mean, you could always try to pick maps where the Mei doesn't find a lot of value. However, that's kind of difficult because at some point, every map you're going to run to an area where it's close quarters. The Mei will be able to do a lot to it. And hell, I mean, Mei does have a really good poke with their right click or the icicle shot there, but still a long series left ahead of us right now. Elvish Soulknife, one step closer to being crowned your champions of C League here in Season 8. But Freefall, they have next map selection here, and they want to go fast with it, already letting us know that our second map of the night will be King's Row.
Of course, it's the tried and true, the Scrims Row. It was inevitable. I think even if we wind up getting the loop around when it comes to all the map types getting selected, we're bound to see King's Row at some point in time. It has a lot of playtime amongst all the teams across all the leagues. I think a lot of people find their comfort in this spot. And it's one of those things I'm kind of worried for them because I think Denji really thrives in this one. I mean, you could ban the Sigma. Him being so flexible with that is definitely going to help him out a ton when it comes to the streets of King's Row.
Yeah, it really will be here. But I mean, I'm looking back at the upper bracket final between these two teams. Granted, we start off on Lijiang there, went to King's Row next. It's going to be really interesting to see if the bans are going to be the exact same. But the Mei ban the first time these two teams met was not there. It was Ryan and Bastion actually being banned when they played in that upper bracket finals. Let's see if it'll be the same this time around. And I can already tell you, no, Freefall banning out that Sigma. We saw Lucio and Soj be banned out in the upper bracket final between these two teams.
Yeah, now I'm wondering, that they banned the Sigma, which was what I was expecting for the retaliatory ban. They wanted to find a way to make Denji a little bit more, mortal. Because, I mean, for a lot of that game, that last map, I mean, Denji was practically surviving almost every single fight. I mean, sure, 7 deaths seems like a lot, but again, when it comes to the tank, you have to find a way to try to expose him early on and allow these supports to feel a little bit easier to, focus down.
Yeah, and I mean, you saw how the Sigma pick came in for Elvish Soulknife there. It was a big difference maker there on that third sub point there on Arctic, and would have been interesting to see it on that second point. Yes, you get rid of it here though on a map like this where long sightline and some long just path lines here on this map can really make sure that Sigma finds a lot of value here. And I think you want to be playing in the brawl mirror with these two teams because you can go back to that second point where it was essentially a brawl v brawl. And I mean, it was pretty convincingly Freefall that was able to win that one.
But that's the thing. You say that, but I think it's just because they kind of forced the jetpack cat a little too much. I think they were able to kind of circumvent that. So now that this map, I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of cat stun in general. Still going to ban the cat. Still was kind of worried about that. So now we're definitely not going to see the cat stun at all during this map in particular. So I'm wondering if that is going to, shake things up a little bit. Again, I think when it comes to the brawl versus brawl, I think Freefall has that matchup.
It's interesting, though, that we're seeing Elvish banned out, considering Freefall didn't play the cat at all in our first map of the series, and it might let you know that they kind of want to play away from it here. But Elvish, again, I mean, we saw a good cat come out there from Sad Blue Whale for the most part, but like you said, I think there was a time where they were definitely getting baited out. You look at the stats back from that last map, and Sad Blue Whale had the least amount of healing by a decent amount, almost 4,000. there in that one, because the majority of those first 2 points, they're just carrying around a Bastion there. And if you really want to have your support be more engaged into it, sometimes get rid of a character they might have tried to force a little bit too much.
Yeah, that's why I try not to read into the numbers too much, because I mean, you have those some of those games you play in your ranked matches. You see a Mercy hard pocketing a DPS, and they're gonna have a similar stat line, right? They have like 1k healing, and then you go to the end game stat line, and they have like 4k damage amplified. So as long as I think for Super, he's definitely appreciating blue through and through, and saying, hey, you could have 0 healing for all I care. As long as I'm flying through the sky, melting down the opposition and not dying, I'm cool with that.
You have the Oscar cam right here. But I mean, granted, I'm not gonna really talk about what Elvish is showing us right now because they're in spawn. They can mess with us. But look at what Freefall is coming out with here. Sonic, is this inside? Oh, I want to say this is inside.
You got me on this one. I was like, whoa, I missed out.
Okay. Hello, Cobblecraft, everyone. Nice to see it.
Stop. I was wondering what they're asking what the coordinates are for. I was like, what are you guys talking about? Oh, that's why.
But you look at what Freefall is playing here. This kind of just screams me as old school kind of composition here on King's Row. You are going to try to ice wall. I thought maybe you would try to ice wall someone at this choke right here, but Rock Crab's also going back over that Mei that you talked about a lot for them here. So it's going to be really interesting to see which Mei finds more value here, but Triggered already getting caught out here by their counterpart.
Yeah, that's going to happen with this Sojourn matchup. It's just a matter of who can get that first pick. We saw Super getting super low. But again, I think the walls are going to be super imperative for this matchup. A matter of just like who's going to save their team, who's going to wall them off, who's going to put their own team at risk. And you see Donk actually caught into the room. Really tough spot to be in. Not much he could do except just sit there and wait for your team's cooldowns to come back. Because again, Sonic already uses wall super early on, and he uses again, not finding a whole lot of value. So they have to kind of just wait it out, respect it. Denji winds up getting a pick onto Triggered again. He just gets back and immediately gets picked, but Rock winds up losing his life in the meantime. And that's all thanks to Killer Queen. A lot of water balls coming at your face, a lot of damage being supplemented for that Triggered Sojourn dying so early on. But now Chaos eager to get onto the kill feed, finding Keegs the counterpart.
And then Denji finds Sonic. I mean, this is already kind of falling apart here for Freefall. And honestly, I mean, in these kind of scenarios, you would just back up, maybe go over the point and play for Arches. But it wouldn't surprise me to see some swaps come out here from Freefall. Granted, they're so close to ultimates. I don't think they're going to do that. And now, if you're Elvish, take as much space as you possibly can. Make it difficult for Freefall to try to, play Street Phase right now. Try to basically force them to play at that second point, but they're not taking all the space. They're playing it safe, which I don't blame them, but with how they've been playing so far, take all the space in the world.
Yeah, I say you can take all the space in the world, but you have to worry about a couple ultimates lined up on the side of Elvish. I mean, the Kitsune rush is going to be so strong down these narrow alleyways, and we just have to find a way to get Triggered into this fight without dying. I mean, this is going to help out a ton for Donk going straight to the backline, Tidal Blast in hand, nose tag team on the Terror Surge, but that's going to help out a ton. A very late Tidal Blast from Blue instead, but I think the damage has already been done. Yeah, they're just going to do a Blizzard just to make sure they guarantee win this fight because they lost Donk a little early, or a little bit later on in that fight. So good call from Sonic, and that is going to finally be a fight win for Freefall.
I feel like the Blizzard, though, you're still going to win that fight right there. If you are Freefall, you kind of want that Blizzard back, and you want that Ice Wall back definitely there as well. Because, look, Donk is playing one of the slowest moving characters in the game. They're still not part of this fight. Yeah, you get rid of Denji here, but you're going to be giving up some valuable space right now, and Rock has this Blizzard ready to go. They could really just try to use this right now to buy a lot of that space back.
Yeah, I would say with a overclock in hand, Triggered is definitely going to be one of the players that has to make the move. They have to find a way to get this early pick off. Because again, you saw those first few fights, Triggered was one of the first people to wind up dying. Kitsune Russia was well from Keegs, and now Roxka is going to be able to utilize his Blizzard in tandem with the Terror Surge. Wind up falling in the meantime, but now overclock from Triggered is going to help turn things around. Denji caught between a rock and a hard place, and that's what I was talking about. The walls from both of the Meis, it can both help you and hurt you at the same time. Simultaneously, he walled off the team, but winds up putting him in a really rough spot. Not a whole lot of places he can move with that disruptive shot, just sitting there melting him down.
Yeah, and now Freefall playing back at Archer tier. Elvish, they only had this overclock online from Super, and Super might just need to use it here just to try to buy them some space, find an early pick, but you're starting to see Freefall get stabilized here on this defense side. Nice Ice Wall, though, coming out from Rockcraft.
Okay, and again, go time for Super. Overclock in hand. They have to utilize the Suzu. Wall does come up to help keep them at bay, but they're still lurking. They're still hunting him down. Gets the one shot onto Sonic, and that is going to be enough to be able to help close out that May. And now they want to close out the rest of this fight as well. Keegs between in a rough spot himself. Triggered winds up falling, so now it's just a matter of cleaning up the last few stragglers to get this payload up and running. And with how far this payload is, you can get 3 bodies on the point, and I think that will be objective Bravo.
Yeah, there's no way Freefall gets back to touch this one here. It wouldn't be worth it. They would just be throwing their bodies. They'll try to stall it out an extra 5-10 seconds maybe right there. You get this second point, you play for the final phase right now. You have a couple ultimates going online here if you're Freefall, so you're not necessarily in the worst spot, but Elvish as well, they're going to have both their support ultimates here, so they can try to play very, very quickly at the same time if they want. Try to force out some of those ultimates from Freefall early.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many 3.5-minute time banks have disappeared. I mean, we saw it just the other day in the lower finals. The forward, I think it was a 4.5-minute time bank, pretty much dissipated on the side of Elvish. So definitely got to keep an eye out for a Terra Surge in tandem with the Terra Blast again, with the Tidal Blast again, and not gonna be able to find anything, but does put Rocks in a really bad spot. So Triggered easily able to help close them out. But again, it's only 1 pick. We wind up using 2 ultimates for that 1 pick. It has to be big. And a Tidal Blast as well from Blue winds up putting it on himself. I think it was an accidental self-inflicted Tidal Blast, maybe meant to put it onto Denji, but definitely going to want a refund on that one.
And right now, again, Freefall doing exactly what they need to do here. Stall out Elvish for a little bit here to get some time off that time bank. But you look at Elvish, Kitsune Rush, Terror Surge, Overclock, Blizzard, not that far away. Yeah, Freefall has a Blizzard. They're going to have an Overclock of their own here. But the Blizzard coming out early from Socket, a huge ice wall that Suzu invested early.
Oh man, that was such a huge wall. I mean, just completely cut them off. And just icing on the cake. I mean, that is incredible work from Sonic. Again, another amazing Blizzard from him. I can't tell you how many Blizzards are going to be, deciding factors for these fights. And remember I was talking about that big time bank. We're already down to 2 minutes here, Dex.
Yeah, a minute off it already, and that was one ultimate using that fight there for Freefall, and you won it. Elvish, they didn't invest anything, so they're still going to have those 4 ultimates I was talking about ready to go right now, and you can play fast. If the Kitsune comes out from Chaos here, you have to imagine Keek's going to have to use theirs in response. Denji already stunned out here for a brief moment, but now you're seeing Freefall knowing they do not have an ult advantage here. Backing up, they're going to forego some space right now as the Kitsune rushes are out from both sides.
Holy mackerel, yeah, this is press Q simulator and a half. The Blizzard comes out from Rocks, but I mean, not gonna be able to find a whole lot of value unless Super can just come up with some crazy magic in the backline. Still alive. I don't know how Super winds up surviving that ordeal. He still survives. I can't believe this. This dude is unkillable. I mean, what on earth just happened? He got yanked in by a Terror Surge. Should have wound up dying. They wound up losing the fight, but I mean, the survivability on the side of Super versus Triggered, and this is one of those big, factors in this matchup. Again, can these Sojourns and Kirikos find the mark? Can they wind up surviving these engagements?
Yeah, and again, if you're Freefall, you won that fight pretty good. Yeah, you used a couple ultimates, but so did Elvish. And look, Elvish making some swaps now. Denji going over to the Zarya. Better late than never, especially if you want to try to get rid of Joe Badonk early on. However, you lose one of your supports early on here, and you're going to be forced to back up because of it. But Joe Badonk, what?
Who's backing up here? I thought we were supposed to be backing up. Elvish wasn't getting a pick for the road. So now Freefall have an opportunity to get back in. But again, you have to pay attention to Sonic working on another Blizzard. So I can imagine another quick little wall and Blizzard straight to the back line. Chaos, she has to be perfect with this Suzu once again.
Blizzard out right now, and it's going to struggle to, I think, find anyone right now. Denji can throw some bubbles out there. Super with the Overclock, struggling to find anything.
Oh my gosh, Tidal Blasts are going everywhere. There's so much water. I feel like I'm drowning right now. And now with only 30 seconds left, I mean, they might be able to get another couple picks before they wind up wiping, but they're out of time. Elvish ran into quite a bit of a roadblock when it comes to dealing with Freefall and this May Orisa setup.
Yeah, and even with Denji going over to the Zarya, like I said, better late than never, but it might have been a little bit too late right there. You weren't able to build to a grab. Rockcraft's not able to build to a Blizzard. You will have a Kitsune Rush here if you do play it just a little bit slow, but someone needs to get the touch. Sad Blue Whale does get the touch in time. Chaos now in a world of pain.
Yeah, just an unfortunate position to be in. Has to go in and teleport to Suzu. The Blue winds up falling in the meantime, and Donk, again, just a little extra bit of damage with the Terror Surge, winds up isolating Denji from the rest of their team, and there goes Rockcrafts, and that's going to do it. I mean, again, a 3.5-minute time bank for Elvish, completely shut down at this corner. And, I mean, sure, it's a win condition for Freefall, but, I mean, man, they didn't... normally you expect them to get a lot further.
Normally you do, but I think that's a pretty average spot for a 3rd point hold. to happen right there. But if you're Freefall, you kind of have to go back to how that first point kind of went for you there on the defensive side. It was all kind of falling apart, but I mean, you look at the stats here, give a lot of credit to Killer Queen. 21-1 there, 21-21-1, my bad. Especially playing that support role there, having essentially the second most elims on your side. Whenever you see that coming from the support line there, you know your team's playing good. Yeah, the 2.5 points cap right there maybe not doesn't signify that or show that, but that support line for Freefall was playing out of their mind, and Killer Queen going over to this Wu Yang. We saw it from Elvish towards the end of Antarctic Peninsula and how much of a big difference that made. Killer Queen is showing us right now why that Wu Yang can be very, very viable in the right comps.
Yes, I'm wondering if that's going to be a potential ban in the near future, because, I mean, I'm going to keep it real with you, Dex. I've only seen Killer Queen rock the Lucio, and this Wu Yang is definitely giving me some exciting plays to see. So I'm wondering if we're going to continue seeing that throughout the rest of the series. But yeah, these teams have been going neck and neck with each other. I think both the support and DPS pick potential is going to be super important. You see Triggered already starting off on the Widowmaker, just looking for a quick little pick, trying to play a little bit more safer, and instead going for the Cassie, surrendering the Sojourn Mirror.
I like that here a little bit, especially because Flashbang does help out a decent amount, but still, you have the perks coming online. You'll eventually get Silver Bullet, which will actually force Denji to play a little bit more honest here with it, and especially if you're able to take high grounds like this, you have great potential to be able to find an early pick almost any engagement.
Yeah, and you see him already being really aggressive on this high ground. Killer Queen immediately shut down. Yeah, it's unfortunate because, I mean, Donk was able to kind of isolate Blue, but still Elvish able to actually get that initial pick onto the Wu Yang. So now, I mean, they got high ground control, and I think they're just going to wait for Killer Queen to get back into this fight before they make any type of decision. But now they're really split. I mean, where do you go from here? Do you try to isolate a target, or do you try to drop down on point? And it looks like they're just going to make the decision to drop down onto point, but a little disheveled because, I mean, you see Sonic immediately falling to Denji's Javelin.
I think that Freefall kind of got stuck right there. Killer Queen couldn't really engage back towards the point. There, you need to play point a little bit quicker right there. Jovadonk, though, will find Chaos. That's a huge pick out here early on. It's Trigger getting all the healing in the world, but now being harassed by the rest of Soulknife here.
Yeah, again, I was kind of alluding to it a little bit earlier, how Triggered winds up falling early on every single fight, but I think he's definitely made the adjustment, starting to actually capitalize with some Suzus and teleports to kind of keep him nice and healthy in those fights, and that makes a big difference with having that core hit scan, especially with Trigger getting closer and closer to the high noon, and nobody even actually able to contest those May walls again, just completely cut off this choke, and Denji had no opportunity to even get through the choke to touch the point.
If you're Freefall, though, you need to win this fight quickly. You cannot allow Elvish to hold an RGG. Getting rid of Denji is great for them. And look, this is exactly what we wanted Soulknife to do last round. Take all the space in the world. Force them to have to fight. Force them to have to invest stuff early on. Freefall, they're doing what I thought Elvish needed to do last round, and they're doing a really good job. Just don't fall back. Keep the pressure on. Force Elvish, like I said, to invest early on into this fight. Because look what Elvish has. They're about to have 4 ultimates. Freefall, I think you're okay giving up a fight here if you can get out some ultimates from the other side.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you can force them to use this ult on the corner, I mean, that's huge for you. Oh, Terra Surge! Oh my gosh, Blue got yanked from so far away. That is super unfortunate. It would trigger just getting a quick little off angle as well. Look at it, the payload is still moving, still chugging along, Dex.
Yeah, because like I said, the only way Elvish gets back close to that card is if they find an early pick or they invest into a fight here, which they didn't invest in that one. And you lost early on. Yeah, you got ultimate out there for Freefall, but now the investment's going to have to come from Elvish in a much more predictable spot for Freefall. So they're going to be able to kite out some stuff here very easily, as already 3 ultimates out from Soulknife in the blink of an eye.
Oh my goodness, Denji. Terra Surge in hand, not going to be able to find anything off of it. And the quick little flashbang, ban the hammer combo is enough to be able to close out that point. And just once again, a ginormous time bank for Freefall, 4 minutes and 45 seconds to be able to close out this point. 40 meters is all they need to tie up the series.
Yeah, essentially it's a fight win here for Freefall. That's all they need right now. Grant, Freefall did heavily invest in that last fight there, but hey, they got that second point, almost 5 minutes on the time bank. You're okay with that. Blizzard from Rock Craps, though, might just be able to kind of stabilize Elvish here, but Chaos gets to start off this fight with her Kitsune.
Okay, Again, Maywall's cutting things off, and I think they're just going to kite it. Yeah, good call from Freefall, just completely kiting it out, just waiting for the Kitsune rush to dissipate before they re-engage, re-enter into the fight. And I think Rockcraft's going to be willing to utilize the Blizzard, winds up falling in the meantime, but again, their dog just not dying. Whoa, he into the hole. A huge spear from Denji to keep their hopes alive. That would have been a big opportunity for them to close out that fight, especially with them losing the mace so early on. But again, a little around the rim slide in shot from Denji to be able to shut down that fight.
And this is a moment right now where if Elvish, you have to take some space. You can't just play back. You can't play around cart. Take some space, because you can always fall back to where you are right now. You have that the blast, or the tidal blast, coming online here from Sad Blue Whale, and essentially it has to be given to Denji here. They have to be the one taking all the space in the world right now. Trigger, though, not that far away from a Deadeye here, as they are just essentially frontlining Denji at the moment.
Oh shoot, yeah, I was gonna say he played really aggressive there. I guess just a little miss on communication on when they were actually going to commit and when they're going to go in. Wouldn't blame him. I think it might have been one of those things saying, hey, I'm about to have Kitsune, and we heard it as a let's go time, because it was like 99 for essentially both supports on the side of Freefall. But again, not a big deal. They still have plenty of time, 3 minutes on the time bank still. They can easily close it out with a big ult bomb.
I just don't like how Elvish is playing this. They're allowing Freefall to take all this space for free, and look, they're going to be backing up right now. You're going to have to be investing a lot of stuff into this fight right now if you're Elvish, just to get back to the card.
Oh, Tidal Blast in pair again with the Terror Surge. Dog somehow survives that Terror Surge engagement. Denji falling super low, has to try to survive this. Last fight opportunity. Chaos, a very late Kitsune. Oh man, she saved up for the very last possible moment, and that was going to be enough to be able to keep their hopes alive here on this map number 2.
And that's where Freefall is really hoping to win this map right now. They invested both their support ultimates right there. However, you look at them, still have a Deadeye online, but I'm trying to figure out where does Trigger actually get a good opportunity to use it. Not just looking for picks, but just looking for space. Because you're starting to see Elvish find a lot of value here, and Rockcraft's going back over to this Torb has worked out very well for them here. The Deadeye coming out right now, trying to buy some space, but everyone from Elvish playing great.
Yeah, they have to play out of sight line. A Suzu is desperately needed, and they're not going to find it. The freeze catches on to everybody, and Super tries to pop the overclock, but it's too little too late, and that's what you were looking for. You wanted that high noon to get them some space, and Chaos forced to use her Suzu so early on that fight. It was a trigger for Sonic to immediately capitalize and jump on with that Blizzard, froze everybody on their team, made it impossible for them to survive.
Again, I mean, just a great map here. A great response back here from Freefall. But again, you have to go back and look at how this map played out the first or the last time these teams met in the upper bracket. I think it kind of played out the exact same. Freefall ended up winning that one almost in the exact same fashion as well. But this looks like a much different Freefall than what we saw going back to Control. They played with a little bit more confidence. They were able to take fights. They took space, which was the biggest thing I was kind of maybe criticizing Elvish for, is that they were necessarily afraid to take space. You go back to that second point push on Streets phase. Elvish did not take space. They played very safe. They played very passive, and it allowed Freefall to come back in, win a team fight, and then play at Arches for a decent minute. You have to remember, Elvish had a better time bank going into the second point phase or push phase there in Streets. They had a lot more time, but they lost a couple key fights early on and wasted some of that time there, while Freefall, they didn't. They took that space, and they easily were able to kind of predict when Elvish was going to go out there and throw some ultimates into a fight, kited them out perfectly, and won it very easily.
Oh, yeah. And that's going to be important going in the series. I think being able to recognize those patterns and knowing when to start putting pressure onto them, putting your foot on the gas a little bit, really helps dictate the pacing. Because I think pacing is super important in those head-to-head matchups, because they're running essentially the same exact team comp. Granted, they run the Cassidy instead of the Sojourn, but you're not looking for that ginormous pick potential from Cassidy. You're just hoping to make some space with the high noon. You're not looking for a 6K. You're just wanting to get some sort of room so you can kind of wiggle around and play with.
Yeah, but again, I'm looking at the stats from this last map here. We have to talk about the support line for Freefall there. Keegs and Killer Queen. Didn't talk about them enough. I think we did talk about Killer Queen, the fact they only had one death in that first round. Well, they died early on the second round. That was their only death in the second round. They died 2 times. Keegs and Killer Queen combined 4 deaths that round right there, and a combined 35,000 healing as well. Keegs alone had 22.5 K healing in that round. Excellent performance coming out from them there. But I mean, right now, hey, 1-1 after 2, essentially now, Leapfrog, you have to look at it like this. It's just back to the regular season. It's a best of 5 from here on out for these two teams, and it's a spot where both these teams are very, very comfortable, and one where they're a little bit, they understand it a little bit better.
Yeah, I couldn't have asked for anything better, man. I'm telling you, these guys are going back and forth, and we're gonna, looks like they've decided on Runasapi coming up next, a push map. Again, I think we're going to see the Cat Bastion come back to fruition again, unless Freefall decide to ban it out here. But I mean, again, that's where you could kind of lean onto it a little bit and save it with a particular type of ban. But we're going to have to see what the decision making is for their team. They're going to get rid of the Mauga, so I guess they just want to put a lot of emphasis maybe on the Sigma or the Orisa play from Denji. Again, dude's a role star for a reason, so...
And I have to say this, the script might be playing out the exact same way that it did in the upper bracket finals, considering outside of Antarctic Peninsula, we're almost playing the exact same maps here. It started off on Lijiang, then went to Kings Row, now Runasapi. This time around, just Antarctic, Kings Row, and then Runasapi right now. But you get rid of the Mauga here, and hey, you talked about that Cat Bastion coming back out here. Well, that's what I kind of thought Freefall would do. Get rid of the Bastion this map. Don't allow that Cat Bastion to be played. But I think both me and you kind of agreed after that first map, that Cat Bastion wasn't really finding a lot of value. However, on a map like Runasapi, a lot more outdoor space that you have to play in. That Cat Bastion would have been able to find that value that you were really missing there on Antarctic Peninsula.
Yeah, as with most of the objective type game modes, whether it's payload or push, or even the hybrid maps, again, you have to be on the point in order to get any type of progress. It's a little bit harder with the control and flashpoint maps because you can kind of cap it and just hide off until they start putting some more pressure on the objective itself. But again, now no longer a factor. And I think you hit the nail on the head. I think this map in particular would have really made things thrive, and with it being so out in the open, made it a lot harder for them to kind of duck and cover.
I'm gonna be honest, I've never seen that llama before. I didn't know there was a floating llama in this map.
I think it was the magnet spawn. I think so. I don't ever do a 180 and spawn too often.
Yeah. But I mean, you see what the two teams are coming out with right now. I personally think the Mauga is a little bit of it's a good band, but I feel like Freefall, they've shown us that they can really play without the Mauga right now. Honestly, something like potentially the Cassidy would have been a little bit better here, in my opinion, for Elvish, because you get rid of the Cass, it means that you would immediately get the cap ban out there from Freefall, which leaves the Bastion there. But you see what these two teams are playing here. Rockcraft's going back to this Torb. They've played this Torb really well so far throughout the series, even a little bit that we saw there on Kings Row. I think you have to play it here. I'm honestly a little bit more surprised to see dueling Mizukis come out here, considering we haven't seen it all night long from either of these teams.
Yeah, and they're still going to be dueling it out here on this initial fight on the point. But again, Roxcraft's still going over to the Torbjorn. Sonic, again, Rookie of the Year, MVP, looking to start lighting things up back onto the Xion. I can imagine this is what they've been comfortable with. They've been practicing on for a long time. Triggered getting super low, has to use Suzu, so now they're going to have to just back up because Donk doesn't have that same survivability as much as they used to, especially with Queen wind up falling. It's going to be a quick little reset for Freefall.
And again, Elvish going back over this poke complicated Freefall, a lot of problems back on Antarctic Peninsula. Freefall, they might honestly just make a full swap here. I would not be surprised if you see that. Yeah, Killer Queen and Joe Badonk already making some swaps here. Want to just play this hyper brawl. Instead, they want to be in your face, take all that space away from Denji. But I feel like what you're still seeing from Elvish here can really punish a Ryan, can really punish potentially that Ryan Xion trying to run to the backline here, and Killer Queen as well. As you already see Joe Badonk charging straight in, but they also lose half their health.
Yeah, now just have to just wait back, and especially again with only having a Lucio for like your main sustain, you just have to wait all off of cooldown, all off of amp it up. That's the only way you can try to wind up surviving in these initial fights. Keegs is going to be forced out to use a lot of resources, rolls into the rock, winds up surviving somehow. They still have access to High Noon, but now when you wind up losing Queen and you lose Sonic in the meantime, it's going to be another kite, another regroup back to spawn.
I gotta give Keeks a lot of credit here. I was gonna say, yeah, Joe Badong dying right there. They should have died at least 10, 15 seconds ago. I don't like this from Freefall. And you saw it right there. Killer Queen and Joe Badong got stuck on the jump pad, and that's what punished Killer Queen right there. That's how they died. And that's how they really lost the fight. Without your Lucio there, it's very vital to this entire composition. It kind of showing you that Freefall is not necessarily comfortable playing poke here, even though the rest of their composition is honestly very pokey.
Yeah, I want to say, I think an Ana would really go well here. They don't have any flankers. They don't have anybody to really put a ton of pressure on them. Denji actually popping the Graphitic Flux, catching both supports off in a really bad spot. But unless Freefall wind up getting both of their supports, it looks like it's going to be another fight win for them.
And again, if you're Freefall, I think you have to make swaps, and Joe Badonk getting off the Rhine. I just don't think the Rhine's really worked out for them when we've seen it so far throughout this series, and you want a little bit more poke. Yeah, go over to the Orisa. You still have the same amount of sustain that maybe the Rhine does, maybe a little bit more there. But again, we've seen this throughout this entire series. Joe Badonk, whenever they poke their head around a corner, they lose half their health every time. They're still at half health right now.
Yeah, even with the fortify, it's not enough to keep you alive. Sonic just looking for a pick potential, and with Donk winds up falling. I mean, do you even commit the Satsuriki speed? They are going to put it blue. Unfortunately, the primary target, and yeah, look at that Roxcraft. I mean, he's so eager to jump into the fray with having so much armor and the overload. It's impossible to wind up dying in that situation. So great awareness from them. Knew they had to just hide and hope for the best. But now we're approaching the finish line for Elvish.
Honestly, I want to see Sonic go back over to a Mei here. I don't think this Shion's working here. You get rid of Super early on. That was the only ultimate you had to deal with from Elvish, but you still need to be able to clean up the fight. You're trading out, but still, you need to be able to get a dominant fight win here.
Multiple fight wins, Dex. I mean, again, you could win this one and wind up still maintaining this forward spawn if Elvish are quick onto the draw. They don't have a Lucio speed boost. They can't get back to it as quickly as, say, Freefall. But again, they still have a ton of resources they can utilize. They got access to the High Noon. Denji's going to wind up building to another Graphitic Flux. And I mean, unless this beat comes at the perfect time, it's essentially going to be a fight win for them again.
But right now, Freefall, one thing that would be really good here, they get the spawn resets. They just need to be able to find something early on, a pick, especially on someone like Denji who has a good ultimate online, but the Super Deadeye out here. Okay, we're bouncing on it apparently.
Oh man, mega pause, brother. But yeah, as a quick retaliatory High Noon from Triggered, and this is what you want to see. Yeah, a little silly from Super trying to do the trampoline High Noon, not going to get a whole lot of success out of it, and that's going to be actually a quick team kill from Freefall. So that's a great fight win, a very dominant one, in fact, because they need to do that again just to get this first checkpoint, because unfortunately you could have 10 bodies stacked onto the push bot. It will go only one speed, and that speed is slow.
Yeah, but Freefall right now, about to have 4 ultimates online, and I will say this, that I said that was probably the clearest you'll ever hear me say that phrase again, because I'm never saying it again. But you have the Flux online here from Denji, and you're looking at Kill Queen, you're looking at Keegs, two abilities and an ultimate when it suits that can really be able to just dislodge a lot of this Flux, but they just give up point.
Oh man, I'm gonna say, if I was Donk, I wouldn't even use this, because I mean, you already got the checkpoint. I mean, you can just back up, kite it out, but nah, just go for the blood, go for the stat line. And now I'm getting kind of worried a bit, Dex. We're starting to creep up on this lead. This 130-meter lead to like nothing is starting to slowly dwindle away.
Yeah, but you look at Elvish here. They're okay giving up a couple of these fights. Yeah, maybe the forward spawn is something you didn't want to do here, but look, 4 ultimates W online for them, but Freefall, they're about to have 3. Here's the Flux, does be fine too, but the beat gonna be able to keep everyone alive through it here, so not the best look here for Freefall, for Elvish, I mean.
Oh my goodness, you had to use everything there. Freefall not gonna be able to get anything in retaliation. I mean, we wind up using the Satsuriki spree, walks directly into the Denji eat. I mean, not going to get any type of value. The Kitsune from Chaos really helped put a damper on things. I mean, sure, they got 100 meters back, but I mean, they still have to win a couple more consecutive fights now just to be able to try to look to take that lead.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Elvish still has 3 ultimates. Freefall, everyone's going to get these forward spawns. They're going to be able to kind of meet at the initial starting point of the map here for the bot. But Freefall, they're going to have a Deadeye. Does it buy them some space? Does Super use their own Deadeye here just to try to negate it out? I mean, honestly, I look at Rockcrafts here just throwing out the Molten Core just to try to force Freefall in the spots that they'll be very uncomfortable with.
Yeah, maybe bait out a couple ultimates. We do get out the High Noon. Yeah, and they have to use the Kakai Sanctuary just to kind of keep everybody alive. Not gonna be able to find anything off of it. Super gonna be able to pop his own in retaliation, but despite Killer Queen being 1 HP, still doesn't fall to the High Noon. Gets rid of Super. They wound up losing everybody in the meantime. Everybody's zoned off, and it just let them just kind of clean up the rest of the opposition. And again, Denji, just so survivable with the Sigma. And this is exactly why he's a role star.
Yeah, but you still look at that time bank right now. Over 2.5 minutes here. Freefall, they're not necessarily in the comfortable spot right now, especially with Elvish getting the forward spawns back. But look at Elvish. They still have this Molten Core, and they're just gonna back up right now. Yeah. And this is something that punished them in the first map, where it punches triggered right there. The fact that they never looked up to get rid of the turret.
I mean, they looked up, but again, it has a lot of HP. When you throw it so far back, they have to respect it. I mean, triggered, when you're playing Cassidy, there is a range cutoff with your revolver, unfortunately. So you have to rely on your team to help clean up the rest of that Torbjorn turret. They get the fight win. They kind of cut off that forward spawn once again. And again, oh wow, King's actually going to commit to the Kitsune. Denji not able to find anything with that Flux, a very rare miss on that Flux. They always had beat as well, just to kind of keep everybody nice and healthy, but everybody's kited out, everybody's spread out, all thanks to the Molten Core from Rocks. And now that shield is gonna be all moot, because again, you have to run out of there to chase after some people. They're not gonna stand behind the shield, they're not gonna respect it, they're just gonna walk around and just find some picks. And again, some ultimates used from Freefall, but also from Elvish, not gonna find the success they were looking for.
No, not at all here. And again, you were able to reset the spawns. Well, guess what? Forward spawns back in control of Elvish here. 80 seconds left to go, and you still have a Kitsune Rush online here for Elvish. Freefall, yeah, they got both their DPS weapons here soon, but again, have to look up here because we just saw Rock Crabs throw that turret up there. You have to be able to get rid of that early on.
So annoying. I mean, so you have to acknowledge it at some point in time because you can't just ignore it the whole time. But here we go, Satsuriki Spree immediately gets chained up. Oh, that would have been big, but a huge chain from Blue shuts it all down. Heartbreaking, because you saw the Suzu come out on top of that, so that should have been the fight win for them. Killer Queen still getting rid of Blue Whale. So now this is still an opportunity for them to bring it back, but now with only 40 seconds, Dex, they have to be perfect from here on out. They cannot lose another fight.
They can't lose another fight, but Elvish, they could afford to necessarily lose a fight here. Look, they have free ultimates here, but they don't have to invest them. They want to try to get Freefall to use their ultimates. And the longer and further they allow Freefall to push this without an engagement, I think is the worst thing that could happen right now. But no, they're going to engage here very quickly. They're going to flip the map. Actually, the Deadeye's coming from both here.
I was saying, who's going to be able to get it first? Oh, Kai Sanctuary cuts it off. The bot's still moving. 15 seconds. They have to find a way to contest this point. Denji has to float his way over there now. Everybody's so spread out. Chaos wasn't falling, so does Kings. Everybody also low. Denji getting moved off the bot. 3 seconds overtime is triggered. But do they have anybody to contest this point? It's slowly chugging. Killer Queen can move below. 10 more meters. Super has to win this, and he looks like he might be able to, and he does. It got very hectic towards the end. They got so disheveled, so spread out. But 10 meters is all that separates them. 132 meters is the winning point for Elvish Soulknife.
I mean, Elvish Soulknife, they definitely figured something out about this Freefall team. Again, you go back to this last matchup here in the upper bracket finals. They brought, Elvish brought Freefall to this map, and Freefall was able to win it. But you just look at how they've been playing, and you can tell this is a different Elvish team, especially, I think, having the big scare of a 3-2 lower bracket finals against a team that had to play in the play-in to get just to make these playoffs here right now. Elvish, though, up 2-1 in our series as we prepare to head to our first break.
Oh, man. I mean, you can't ask for a better timing than that. I mean, the Elvish finally getting the lead back in their favor. They've been, victims of a 3-1 loss against this team last time in that upper final. So now that they've gotten past that initial hurdle, that initial barrier, I think a sigh of relief is, inevitable for these teams. But now that they have time to think about it, time to kind of talk about it with their teams and their coaches and stuff like that, I wonder what their thought process is.
Well, I mean, they're going to have a little bit of an extended break right here to talk about what their coaches talk about with all the players here. As we're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be back with map number 4 of our grand finals. Everyone, stick around.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Very close series we have on our hands. Again, back to the initial thought process between the teams. I'm thinking it was going to go in favor of Freefall, but now Elvish starting to paint a little bit different picture. I'm Mr. Leapfrog. Join me tonight, Dexatron. How's it going, brother?
It's going good. This has been a great series so far. Freefall, I mean, they've looked good, but Elvish has really been able to kind of punish them in some instances where, realistically, especially with how good Freefall's been throughout the entirety of the season and the postseason, it's kind of surprising, especially when you do see this Elvish team play really a hard poke, especially into some of the brawl that we have tried to see this Freefall team play. It just seems like Freefall can't wrap their head around it at times. They're always just getting caught out from a multitude of ways and just getting punished from it.
Yeah, so I'm wondering what kind of adjustments they're going to need, because, I mean, we were talking about a little bit during the break. I mean, they really can't match that poke, so I'm wondering if they're going to try to really lean into it, make some small adjustments from that, or they're just going to go big. Are they going to try to just go for a completely different comp altogether?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see here, especially as we head over to Atlas, and Freefall going to be banning out the Wu Yang here, which you go back to a map like Antarctic Peninsula, like King's Row. Didn't really see the Wu Yang at all on Runasavi, which is actually a little bit of a surprise to me, especially from Freefall, considering how well we saw Killer Queen play that Wu Yang back on King's Row. But you're getting rid of that, and Elvish getting rid of the Rhine, which I'm not against. I'm really not against, but if you're Elvish, I don't know why. It seems like you've been able to kind of punish Freefall whenever they play the Rhine throughout this entire series. But hey, more of a close quarters map. Maybe the Rhine finds a little bit more value here.
Yeah, I think it was more of like a carrot type thing. You try to dangle it in front of them, and hopefully the next few maps, maybe they try to go for the Reinhardt again, thinking like, oh, now that Reinhardt's no longer banned, now I have more incentive to try to go for it again. But yeah, not particularly fond of the Reinhardt comp in any of these maps, especially the remaining maps that we have. But you never know what Freefall might have. I mean, we haven't seen a whole lot of Symmetra being played. I feel like Symmetra could go really well in tandem with the Reinhardt and start doing a little bit of that London Spitfire-esque comp. Maybe find a little bit more success that way.
Yeah, show another frog. I know these observers have it. That's not a frog.
That's not me. That's not me.
Fire one of the observers right now. They didn't show a frog. But you look at these two comps right now, and you're seeing Joe Don go back over to this Ramattra that has kind of, I think, when they've wanted to play the brawl, worked out the best for them here. But Sonic being back on the Mei, I think, is the most important thing here. You go back to King's Row, I think Sonic's Mei was incredible there, and you just have to be able to kind of play around it right now. You have to be able to ice wall off, especially Denji on this Sig. You want to be able to punish them early and frequently.
Yeah, and you see Rox, he's not even trying to go for the Mei matchup anymore. He's just going to go straight for the Torbjorn just to help add the additional bit of damage. Unfortunately, not going to be able to survive himself. Triggered is reluctant to let this Torb leave. I think once we get that perk again for the turret, it's going to be a lot harder to try and survive. But again, early fight win for Freefall. I like what I'm seeing to start us off here, especially with Sonic back onto the Mei.
Yeah, like I said, Sonic on the Mei, I think, was a big difference maker back on King's Row. I thought we could potentially see a last map from them. I thought it would have been something that would have maybe thrown a little bit of a thorn into Elvish's side on Runasapi. I think it's going to be throwing a big thorn here, considering when you look at a lot of these points, how close quarters they are. The Mei will find a great amount of value on any of these points, especially this first point, because you look at all the catwalks and just walkways here, very, very narrow. Those ice walls will be able to punish you frequently. Yeah, Leapfrog, I think you muted your mic there, but again,
there you go.
Yep. I mean, you lose triggered here early though.
Oh, but the Kitsune Rush, or not Kitsune Rush, a Graphitic Flux from Denji is able to help close things out. Quick little turnaround. Again, oh wow, and they actually get Denji kind of low. Maybe they can help capitalize, but Donk winds up falling. Yeah, Annihilation winds up being used. That's going to be heartbreaking for him. Definitely thought it was a winnable position, but wants a refund from that.
They want back to the last 30 seconds there, because I think with the Annihilation, you could just come back in this next fight pretty quickly. But Yurei, we didn't mention that Yurei coming in here for Chaos this map. I think they want to play a little bit more of Kiri. I think that's the case, why they're bringing Yurei in here. And again, BPL rules, if you are in lobby or if you are around, you do have to play.
Yeah, you have to play at least one map, so Maybe Yuri's feeling a little confident too. Could be one of those things that get me in there. I'll go crazy. Super looking for a pick. Not gonna be able to find, but does get the big damage off of the this Lucio beat and winds up having to chunk down 2 of them in the meantime. Using Blizzard super late in that fight. I mean, is the damage already done? Super still alive, and now he's in the Kakai Sanctuary, so now in the safety of a little bubble. Now has to try to get rid of this triggered High Noon himself. Everybody zoned off, so they're looking to still try to fight their way onto the point. Almost gets the pick, but luckily the ones up still surviving. Perfectly timed Suzu to keep everybody nice and healthy. Denji jumps in the meantime as well. Nice, everybody lit on fire. And that should be able to take care of first point. I mean, very dominant start for Freefall, but again, I think a little overzealous annihilation may have cost him that point.
Yeah, I think it really did here. Did you see the remaining stragglers come out here for Freefall? Elvish gonna get off to a good start right now. You talk about Genji coming, my bad, Denji coming back over here onto this Malgo. We talked about the flexibility they have as just a tank player here, being able to flex from brawl, poke, rush, dive. They can really do anything right now. It's been something that Elvish has really relied on so far throughout this series. You see Joppadonk off the Malga there after one point, going over to the Orisa as instead. And this might be a little bit of a better battle or matchup here going up against Denji. You're able to kind of sustain through a lot of what this Malgo wants to do to you right now. Thank you for the frog pip. But you still have to be able to find some sort of value here early on, because you look at how Elvish is playing, they're all just kind of rotating around Denji here.
Yeah, and it's not one of those things that Donk has to try to isolate a support, right? I mean, you get the spear onto one of them, force out a Suzu super early on, put a lot of pressure onto Yuri. I mean, again, they've been, really reluctant to use the Suzu in some of these fights and only using these crucial moments, and that's been making a big difference maker for them. Considering Rush being used from Keegs as well, so now Donk is just going to go crazy, pushing everybody out of position. They don't even want to look at rocks. They say, I want to focus my emphasis on the point. Denji getting forced to go to point just to contest, winds up getting blown up. And that's going to be a first point again towards Freefall, but we saw this during the last point as well. Elvish making quick adjustments.
Yeah, quick adjustments, but I like Elvish in that fight. And Denji getting off of the Malga, now going back over to this Sigma. Like I said, I thought maybe if you stuck on that Malga, Joppadonk would have had maybe a little bit of a better fight, or a little bit of a better head-to-head. You go back over to Sigma, go back over to this really hyper poke comp instead, and we've seen Freefall struggle with it here. Yeah, Freefall's going to have 3 ultimates here ready to go early on, but Elvish didn't really invest heavily in the last fight, but you lose Super here early on, so I think you're going to back out right now. Maybe try to punish Freefall for to play a little bit aggressive here.
I think they're just gonna respect it. Denji giving up on the Malga, going back over to the Sigma again, trying to play that poke composition, try to just let their damage dealers go to work. But I mean, again, when you lose super early on in that fight, it's gonna be hard to do. Blizzard in pair with the Terra Surge, nothing they can do. The Suzu comes out, but it's not enough to keep your team alive. So much damage that you have to focus on, and you have to time it with the actual slam, and you have to just try to use Suzu. You're putting in a really tough spot. So a great pair of ultimates again from Sonic and Donk, able to secure that first point. And hey, look at that. Point spawns right in front of them again.
Yeah, I mean, they had a 50-50 chance of where it was going to go, and they picked the right one. And granted, look, you invested 2 ultimates in that fight if you're Freefall, but you still have 2 more ready to go. So does Elvish Soulknife, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Elvish Soulknife to be able to use theirs. Yurek could actually start off with this Kitsune Rush, and they won't be matched by Keegs here. Just try to take some space, but instead the data coming out from Trigger just going to be eaten up there by Denji.
Oh man, everybody getting so low. Kitsune Rush going straight into the Kakai Sanctuary, so they can't really do much unless they want to risk running into it. But everybody so low on Elvish, not much they can do. Getting booped back, Maywall isolating targets, but they're still going to just power through it. Now it's one of those things, the point does get unlocked. They're going to retreat back to the point, maybe get a quick cap, and they do actually get a pick for the road. Denji pops the Graphitic Flux looking for a target, but a perfectly timed Suzu from Yurei keeps everybody nice and healthy.
And that's probably an ultimate you want back right there, but it's being traded out back and forth. No one's necessarily winning this fight, but Freefall, they're at least winning the point here at the moment.
Oh boy, and a little High Noon, just a little cherry on top, just to make sure they force Keegs into a rough position, and Killer Queen not too far behind them. But again, Donk still alive, still nice and healthy. Maybe you're willing to commit a Terra Surge. No, not going to be able to get it off in time. A quick little triple kill from Roxcraft shuts it all down.
I think at this point you're kind of seeing that Joe Badonk and Sonic are probably always try to combo up those two ultimates right there. But this comes back to the point that we were trying to make, or we were talking about a lot during the break here. How when Elvish plays his poke, especially with Rockcraft, you see it right there, that turret hanging up on the wall. Freefall's kind of just let that go sometimes. It's kind of punished them there, but Super getting punished a little bit early on for, I think, just being a little bit out position is going to come back to bite them here.
Yeah, it's been like a 50-50 between these two. It's Triggered usually the first one getting picked on the side of Freefall, or it's Super getting first pick. So again, that makes it really difficult to try to sustain this fight. I mean, you do have the added bit of damage, but again, a little Terra Surge and Freeze combo is plenty of damage to be able to secure that point. It's just shy of 69% for Elvish, but again, this is another fight where they're gonna have a tough time getting into here.
You're okay, though, with Elvish. You got rid of two huge Fight Wing ultimates on their own in one engagement, and look what you have here. Sanctuary, you're going to have Kitsu, you're going to have a Flux, you're going to have both your DPS ultimates here if you play your cards right. I mean, Freefall's not going to take space right now. They really do not have much that they can invest it with here early on, but they're going to actually invest the Deadeye here. And, I mean, look at where Elvish is. This Deadeye is going to find absolutely nothing.
It's all good. Look at the time. They're running out of time. They have to commit onto this point. Kitsune maybe onto the point itself just to be able to get themselves some sort of progress. Denji getting caught by the chain, but able to still get onto the point first. They actually flip it back over to their favor, but they do lose Rock. So now they're going to have to fight it through it. Oh, Kakai Sanctuary lifts him out of the Kakai Sanctuary. Not much of a safe haven. Yes. And another spear to help close out the fight potentially. Everybody's so low on the side of Elvish. Yeah, there's nothing they can do to stop Donk. He goes to the backline, and he will get exactly that.
Someone stunned Denji out of the Flux right there, because that caught 3 or 4 people, but there was no slamming them back down to the ground. It will be Freefall cleaning it up there. So a great play coming out from Freefall. Going to put themselves onto map point right now. And look, Denji off of the Sig, now going to match this Orisa here, and I think it's going to be a little bit better for them. Sad Blue Whale, haven't seen the cat since map number 1. Fly Noon is online right now for them, and honestly, if you're Freefall, I don't think you're expecting this. So this could definitely be something that you catch them off guard with, unless they already caught it out.
I mean, and on top of that, you have the, yeah, they definitely called it out. But these last 2 points in particular are very good for the Jetpack Cats. So definitely could take advantage of that, but not when you wind up losing people so early on. Yeah, getting Spirit has to just force to rotate. Denji getting super low as well, not gonna be able to run away for the time being. And Sonic, again, just lighting up the kill feed. I mean, this is a May we're talking about. This is not like a primary. You're not talking about a hit scan. You're not talking about a Sojourn. This is just a bona fide May getting a lot of these picks, a lot of these isolations.
I mean, and they've been doing a really good job with it. The ice walls have been great. The icicle shots have been amazing as well. And I mean, you can see they're really going for these aggressive plays, especially with Ice Block. They pick the perk that gives a little bit of that damage field around it. And you've seen Sonic find kills off of that right now. Blizzard online, Deadeye online as well, but still, Fly Noon online for Elvish here. If they look to use it, and yeah, they're looking to use it right now.
Okay. Oh, and he gets 2! Both DPS down from Freefall, so now it's going to be a tough time to try to survive. They have no hit scan to take care of this annoying jetpack cat flying through the sky. On top of that, you have to worry about a big cowboy right in your face. The silver bullet just keeps stacking up damage on damage on damage. And again, we get it just, oh no, we get it at 69, nice, percent for Freefall, but now it's one of those things, how do they hold this? They've got a couple ultimates to their name.
Yeah, they have a Terra Surge and they have a Kitsune Rush coming online here. I mean, the Terra Surge will be able to at least keep Denji alive through the Blizzard here. And the Kitsune Rush from Yurei could actually really keep everyone else alive throughout that Blizzard from Sonic as well. But you have Sanctuary and Deadeye as well ready to go here for Freefall. So you have good zoning tools for Freefall ready to go here. You just can't get caught out early by Elvish.
Oh yeah, you want to say you don't want to fly around too high up in the sky, otherwise you worry about getting shot down. Yurei with the assist on the Kakai, just putting the Kitsune right onto the point. Denji just helping cleave down more damage onto the opposition. Has to try to find a way to get rid of Sonic. Not gonna be able to find it, but the Blizzard does go out and Super winds up falling. So now a heartbreaking loss of an ultimate. They flip it back over to their favor, and 75%. I mean, this is looking like the point might go to a final point here, Dax.
You have the chance to get one more touch here if you're Freefall, but without the speed, it's going to be difficult. However, you could just go get set up on next point. You know where it's going to be, and I think that's going to be what they do. They're just going to forego it. But look, Sad Blue Will has the Catnap online, and unfortunately, you're playing on one of the points where Catnap actually could find value here, considering there's a body of water, and no one knows how to swim.
Yeah, I want to say you're in a tough spot. No Wu Yangs to be found, so unfortunately water is deadly for everybody. A very early Suzu from Yuri, just trying to keep everyone nice and healthy, but now retaliatory Suzu, and instead of going for the water, is just going to go for the bullets instead. Everybody getting super low, and Donk is just ripping them back in. This is a tight room to be in. I'm not stuck in here with you. You're stuck in here with me.
I mean, honestly, I'll give Sad Blue Whale some credit there. Once they realized they did not land on the Jobadonk, but instead they landed on the Keegs, they did the right thing of dragging that Kiriko back into the entirety of their team. However, that also just let everyone on Freefall know, oh, hey, there's where Elvish is. Let's just go beat them into a corner very quickly, which they did. Deadeye, though, online here from Super, so Fly Noon, again, available here. Found 2 last time, and I think was the main reason why they were able to find that 4th point in their favor. And it looks like they're going to be using it right now, and oh, that's might be a lot of skulls, but no one.
No, yeah, I want to say, you would think there'd be a lot of skulls, but they just isolate them into the corner, and it's like a feeding range for Denji, because at that point they saw all of them lined up in a little spot. Lucky there's no major perk for the javelin to penetrate anymore, but either way, the damage has already been done. Suzu being utilized from Yuri just to kind of keep their team alive. Killer Queen popping Kai Sanctuary. Got to watch out for the water, still a threat. An environmental kill could still be a factor for Donk if he's getting those spears to connect. He does get him just onto the wall, and unfortunately, yeah, with Sonic has to go into Ice Block, there's not much he can do except just sit there and watch his tank fall. Nice little spear from Denji to be able to close out that fight. They get the point back over to their favor, and they have a couple ults to their name. This is looking good now.
This is looking really good for Elvish right now to go up on the series and championship point right now, especially with Sad Blue Whale just going and getting rid of Keegs right there. I mean, exactly what you're looking for here from your cat. And you look at what Elvish has here, about to have 4 ultimates. Freefall, they really have nothing. They invested everything in that last fight, hoping to get the point flip back, and now they have to be able to win a fight essentially on their own. And it's going to be very, very difficult for them too, especially as Super is building up to yet another Deadeye.
Another Deadeye, another Terror Surge, another Kitsune Rush. Dude, Yuri has been going overtime, and again, no DPS, no high noon needed. They have no chance now. They have to go straight to point, but at 99%, they're not even going to make it. The bodies fall just short of the actual point itself. And now, the 3-1 lead for Elvish. They are one step closer to claiming C League and being the grand finals champion.
And getting some revenge on a team that beat them in the upper bracket finals here. I mean, this team has been looking really good throughout this entire series right now. I think you go back to King's Row and even say, hey, they look good on that map as well. But I think just the slight mistakes they've been able to really improve upon since then have been a big difference here for Elvish. And Freefall, they're still struggling here. They're still struggling in this poke competition. Honestly, they're still struggling a little bit, I think, in the Rockcraft's tour, because we see it there. Once they get that turret that allows that perk that allows the turret to stick to walls, it's not necessarily something that the other team really focuses on a lot there, and it's able to get a decent amount of damage onto them, and you see it a lot there. I think this was actually maybe one of the better maps here from Jobadonk, because at least every engagement, you didn't see him half health 2 seconds into every fight.
Yeah, you don't think about it too much. Again, Torb is not like a meta pick. I mean, we've been seeing it a little bit more as we've been seeing like the Overwatch Championship Series, and even in the World Cup, we saw a couple of Torbs being played here and there, but not the most popular character. But the way that Rox have been playing it, been super annoying with it, always pestering. And of course, when you get that perk, you throw the turret off in the corner. That's essentially a 6v5. You have to take care of that turret, because if not, you've seen several fights throughout the series where, you know, you get super low and the turret just gets just a little bit of damage to help poke you down.
Yeah, and I want to give a lot of credit to Yuri coming in there in that map. First map for them this entire series, led the lobby in healing, had the fewest deaths as well, playing that Kiriko there for Elvish Soulknife. Did a really, really good job on it, Dale. And I think Sad Blue Whale going over to that cat on those final 2 points was a big difference maker for them. You saw them play aggressively. You saw them actually able to help Super find a couple key picks there and force out a lot of utility early on when they had those Fly Noons online and ready to go. I think the cat was something that maybe Freefall was not truly expecting to see, especially since we haven't seen it from this Elvish Soulknife team since map 1, where realistically the Cat Bastion found almost no value.
Yeah, and that's the sleeper pick. I'll tell people, like, you got to save it for those opportune moments where, like, this is the do or die situation. Again, it still went the distance. That was a final point between the two teams. It could have gone either which way. It could have gone to Freefall. We could have been looking at a tie series, but instead, that little adjustment from Blue made all the difference. And I think supports throughout this entire series have been a staple, right? I mean, we've been looking at Killer Queen stat lines, Keys, Chaos has been playing amazing. Yuri, first map they come in and they light it up and they did amazing. Blue making the swaps from the Mizuki back over to the Jetpack Cat and making it look seamless.
And you have to be putting a lot of focus on Freefall here. Final map selection of the series could be the final map of the series now, as Elvish Soulknife on that championship point here for Season 8 of our C League right now. And I mean, you can tell Freefall's taking their time. We don't know what the map pick is yet, but it's also, you have to ask, what are they going to ban out here? Because they've definitely, I think, gotten rid of some key ones early on here. You go back, Ramatra map 1, then you get rid of the Sigma map 2, the Bastion map 3, then you got rid of the Wu Yang here on our last map, but now we are heading to Dorado. And you look at the season stats here for them. Elvish Soulknife not played it at all. Well, Freefall, well, they played it once and they won it the one time, but you look at just these two teams in general playing escort maps, they're pretty good. They are pretty good. They've only lost one map combined.
Yeah, and again, it's because if you look at the map choices that they've gotten to play on, a lot of them were on, I think, very strong payload maps. And again, if you're going to run the Jetpack Cat, you have to contest the payload in order to get that payload to progress forward. It's not like a rival situation where you get it started and you kind of leave it alone. No, you have to have at least one body on it at all times. So it really thrives on the Jetpack Cat because there's not a whole lot of natural cover when you're pushing that payload. So now when you're looking at Freefall, I'm genuinely wondering, could we see a Torbjorn ban? And we do. This is the first time I've ever seen a Torbjorn being banned in competitive play, and it's actually the right pick.
I've seen too many Torbs banned in when I play. But yeah, this is a good ban coming out here from Freefall. Like I've been saying, I feel like Rock's Torb has just been a problem, especially when you're seeing Elvish Soulknife play this poke composition. The turret's just been thrown in places that Freefall just gets punished by. They get damaged just enough to make it very scary to have to deal with here. And now Elvish, they have their pick of the litter here. You can get rid of a support. I mean, my bad. You can't get rid of. Yeah, you can get rid of support, or you can get rid of a tank here as well. I mean, you have free range, and the bigger question is, with going over to Dorado, were we going to see a dive tank come out? And yeah, dive tank, or at least Diva's going to be banned out here. We haven't seen dive all night long from either of these two teams. It's either been poke or it's just been straight brawl.
Dang, and see that's the benefit of having that last second ban. Similar to like Clash Royale, when you get that last card pick, you can determine the win condition for your team. And when you get rid of that Diva, again, we're playing on Dorado. This is one of those maps that has a lot of verticality, so you really need to rely on that tank being able to jump up and down off of high ground quickly to kind of peel for your team, get in and out of the fight. And now that you get rid of the Diva, it makes it a lot harder for Freefall to try to sustain during these engagements.
Thank you, producer, for telling us that's the first Torb ban all season. Not just for these teams, in general. First Torb ban in all of C League. Happens in the grand finals. You're witnessing history right here.
I told you, it was incredible that it's not like of any league. Of
any league.
That's crazy. And again, it's not like it's a throw pick or a throw ban either. This is genuinely, I think, one of the issues that they were struggling with. It's unfortunate they have to do it on Dorado because I didn't think Torb has that much value on a map like Dorado, but I know Rox can get a little crafty with where his turret placements are.
Yeah, I think the turret was going to be the biggest thing here. It might not be the best map for Torb, but I mean, there's some really interesting spots. You can throw turrets on any map, and Dorado definitely has some of them here. But I mean, you look at this, like I said, this is Freefall's final map selection of this series, no matter what. And you look at their map selections throughout this entire series. Antarctic for map 1, lost that one. They got the bounce back, though, with King's Row. Then you go to Atlas. Yeah, they lost 3-2 there. It was close, but you lose it. You need to now win your final map selection of this series to even keep it alive right now. And Freefall playing poke for the first time tonight, or playing, I think, a true poke for the first time tonight.
Yeah, and look at that, Jinx coming in for Freefall. So they're going to be playing the Jetpack Cat, and Sonic potentially going for the Genji. So Not your traditional Mei pick that we've been seeing time and time again from Sonic tonight, or the Xion. So I think this helps out a ton. Again, a lot of verticality on this map, so you're going to want to be able to have a character that can jump up and down from the high ground pretty seamlessly.
Yeah, and I think right now, Hazard is going to be a big problem, I think, for this Freefall composition. And a Cat Bastion coming out from Freefall as well. You have to remember, this is a team that has banned out the Bastion already throughout this series. And the one team that's actually banned out the Cat has been Elvish here. But I think the Hazard is going to be a little bit of a problem. But Denji sees where Freefall is playing. I think it's going back to maybe make a swap. Yeah, they are. They're just going to match the Sigma. I'm kind of surprised by that, honestly.
Yeah, I thought Sigma, or I think Hazard actually works really well on this particular type of map. Again, I already talked about verticality being an issue for some of the tanks, especially the less mobile tanks like the Sigma. But again, when you're playing Jetpack Cat, that kind of goes out the window. You just get one little grapple and you're on high ground now. So it's going to be a matter of the Catstian and who gets the value. Triggered's been playing a lot of the ground Bastion for a majority of this map, and especially with assistance from Rocks, shutting things down. Sonic maybe gets that little pick for the road, but unfortunately that's going to be the last we're going to see of the defense from Freefall.
Yeah, especially here on point one. I don't think there's really any good reason to try to come back in and stall this one out. You might be able to, but it's just going to be interesting. I will also say this. Chaos coming back in for Ure after the one map. Ure did really good back on that on Atlas. I think you're potentially, no, they're not even going to try. They're just going to give it up. Sonic off the Genji,
Yep.
one life, going over to the Echo instead. Maybe a little bit better here. But, I mean, I think the biggest question, at least for me coming into this map, was what was Rox going to play? And going over to this Mei, even on the offensive side, might just be a big problem for Freefall.
Oh man, yeah, Jinx getting caught in a really bad spot. A flying Bastion, not much you could do there, especially with the way that Blue has been playing, but unfortunately put Super in a really bad spot, winds up getting caught off. And they finally get that first pick that they're looking for. Payload's still slowly creeping along. And again, I don't want to see a Sigma mirror match against a role star like Denji. Denji has been playing phenomenally on the Sigma. So unless they find some way to kind of disrupt his playstyle with like the random sticky bombs or something, it's going to be a tough time getting this tank down.
And just look at how they're playing now. Triggered fell down, needs to get picked back up almost immediately, but at the same time, I think you might also just need to go pick up Joe Badonk as well, and you see that right there.
Whoops.
Actually, Jinx drops them there, and I feel like you're just seeing Freefall make a few mistakes here that immediately comes back to bite them.
Yeah, again, like you're trying to match this team comp, but this is their bread and butter. I don't know if you want to just try to go against them in the exact mirror match here, unless you're just really confident in your game plan doing it, or you just have some really good experience with it. It's tough to match them because they've been looking flawless on it the entire series all night long, and they're just trying to just straight up duel them.
Fox has Blizzard online here, and I might. You don't even need to use it on Joe Badonk. I thought you just use it on Joe Badonk win the fight. Joe Badonk dies early.
Yeah, he dies right away. No eat in sight. Triggered, does get that win against the Bastion finally, but I mean, too little, too late. Your tank's already dead, and now look at this ginormous 5-minute time bank from Elvish Soulknife to complete this map.
This is, I mean, Elvish Soulknife, they have figured something out about Freefall. Like I said, I maybe think against the lower bracket finals where they got dragged out the 5 maps there. I think Elvish Soulknife woke up. They understood what they were doing wrong, and you're seeing it right now on paper. They figured out all the problems. This Flux comes out, does land on 2, jukes the accretion coming out there, but nice accretion coming out from Joe Badonk to at least knock Denji out of their grasp.
Oh, and he winds up getting the Bastion. Still flying Bastion. Nonetheless, no matter which cat is holding you, it's still difficult to deal with. A Catstian, another Catnap right back at you. The Blizzard comes out from Roxcraft, but I think they wind up losing that fight unless they can find a way to circumvent it. Yeah, Sonic just duplicates the Bastion, but not able to get the picks that they're looking for. They still have an opportunity to be able to win this fight, close out this map, but they still are looking really confident. And look at that, an Ash swap for Triggered, finally gets rid of Chaos. Maybe this is what they're looking for, because now Donk finally relinquishing that Sigma duel matchup and going for the Malga instead.
Last-ditch efforts coming out here now from Freefall. I mean, Yeah, you can still complete the map yourself here, but you do not want to give up such a large time bank here. And I like that they're chasing some picks here. They're going to at least be able to eat away probably about 30-40 seconds right now, so that will help you out. And look, you have ultimates coming online. You will have that Kitsu, you will have the Bob coming up. Your trigger does need to land a couple shots to get that, but that is good enough. Denji and Chaos will have the ultimates here for Soulknife, and Denji's fluxes have been honestly pretty good so far this map and so far this entire series. You can't get rocked out of it now. You can't get stunned out of it on the other side. So that's the one saving grace here. As long as Denji lands on someone, it will find value.
Oh shoot, like this? He winds up committing very aggressive, and unfortunately, yeah, that's gonna be the last you're gonna see him unless a clutch Suzu comes out from Keegs. Keeps Donk actually in the fight, and he gets one for the road as well. I thought that was gonna be a death onto the Malga, but somehow this dude's got 2 hearts and 2 lives apparently.
But this is the big thing. You go back and look at how Jobadong played this Malga earlier on in this series, and it was the moment that we started noticing, like, hey, whenever they go charging in, they would already be at half health. They have to play very safe. You want to play aggressive with this Malga, but you need to still play safe here, because Elvish, yeah, you got rid of a good ultimate last fight, but you really need to be winning some fights here without the investment of ultimates. As the Bob now coming out, and actually in a really good spot. Actually, no, that's...
Yeah, it's in a good spot, but immediately gets melted down. Yeah, you saw Jinx trying to pick it up and try to carry it around, but I mean, that Bob was already dead to rights the moment it came into contact with Super, and he went for the Lindholm explosive. So at that point, I mean, so much damage being pumped out, and with the Kitsune Rush on top of that, it's gonna be hard to deal with. Triggered, gets rid of 1 DPS, but he has to try to find a way to get to the point with his team. Not gonna be able to survive it too much longer. Denji just helping cleave down the last bit of opposition. Donk has to do nothing except just watch as his team falls around him. Sonic going for the duplicate onto the Bastion. I thought we were going to see the duplicate instead onto one of the tanks. Either tank would have been really successful there, but Blue actually wasn't falling. How did they win this here? This is impossible. They should have had to be able to close it out, but again, they find a way to clutch it up.
Target selection, I think the fact that he left Keegs alive right there was just the worst thing that you could have done right there. Sonic really did a lot in that fight, being able to find the picks, but Keegs just being able to heal them throughout the entirety of that engagement right there, which should have realistically been the end of this round here for Elvish, capping the map. But again, Freefall, 5-minute time bank for Elvish coming into this point. Already have whittled it down to what will at least be a minute here. And look, Freefall, Catnap, cage fight online for them. You have some wiggle room right now. However, rocks coming up to that blizzard, that might be something that immediately gets rid of that cage. As oh
boy, and yeah, flying Bastion once again. Jinx is just gonna chop down the own cat. Dropped Super in a really bad spot. You thought he was gonna get out. No, he lands right in the loving arms of the cage fight. And now, I mean, look at that. I mean, that 5-minute time bank gone. Swaps. Super goes over to the Cassidy, but I mean, is it too little too late? Blue swapping off of the cat as well, going to the Mizuki. But again, we're already down to the final 40 seconds. I mean, it's not a big deal if you cap it in overtime, but man, you've got to be beating yourself up.
Yeah, I mean, 5 minutes has been whittled down already for here, and you look at Freefall, you have a Catnap, you have a Kitsu, you have a duplicate online here. However, those last two, they have the chance to not get those online. You could find early picks. Denji has the Flux. Rockcraft is going to have this Blizzard online, so if you're able to find 1 or 2 with the Flux, that Blizzard will come in momentarily right after to try to crush them and freeze them once they get down. But Jobadong have to play their life here. However, they just run over Super.
I told you, it doesn't matter how low he gets. He's going to run through his opposition. Finally winds up falling in the meantime, but again, the Sonic duplicate gets 2. He gets over to another DPS player, and you can't eat this, Denji. You have to just take it all. Finally gets rid of Sonic. Kitsune Rush on point, and now you have to worry about the Bob as well. And look at that 5-minute time bank dwindled and gone. Stopped just short of Point Charlie.
Now, if you were going to talk about something that we'll bring up maybe this later on this map or this series here if we extend it here, but the fact that Freefall was able to hold Elvish there, especially when you look at how close Elvish got, all they needed to do was get rid of a Kiriko and an Echo, and you still had one of your supports and your tank. You feel like normally most of the time you come out on top of that. 99% of the time you come out on top of that, but Keegs being able to keep Sonic alive is the only reason that we are seeing a winnable chance here for Freefall. And you look at the stats, Jobadonk, you want a little bit of better performance right there, 8 deaths, but you look at outside that, Keegs with 12 assists, 6 elims, Sonic with 15 elims, 5 deaths. I mean, you are getting good performances coming out here from Freefall when they desperately need them right now. And on the other hand, with Soulknife here, 5-minute time bank going into the final point. you don't cap, you don't finish, you give Freefall this chance. You're now questioning, maybe you're getting in your head here a little bit, but one easy thing for you to do here, you have 3 great opportunities to be able to hold Freefall here now. You just have to be able to hold them on one of the points.
Yeah, any one of them will do. Doesn't matter. As long as you hold them on one of the 3 objectives, it will render you a Season 8 champion. So it all comes down to whether or not they have what it's got. What do they got in takes to actually close out the series? But again, Triggered, Sonic have been amazing. Jinxed, not a name we've been talking about a whole lot as the past couple maps, but really made a name for himself playing this cat and finding a way to circumvent this Catstian that's been so successful from Elvish.
But right now, you immediately jumping on, getting a stun onto a couple right there, but they're gonna be knocked off the high ground here. But still, you need to be able to get rid of this Cat Bash. Yeah, Super struggled to find some value with it here earlier on this series, but they're now finding the value here with it, and it's starting to be a problem for Freefall, especially on these first 2 points where there's going to be a lot of area to fly around on.
Yeah, again, there's so much room they can kind of go crazy with it. So you're gonna have a tough time, especially with the lack of verticality from the Malga. You have to just, again, as silly as it sounds, you have to just kind of bash your head against a brick wall and just run into the point. You saw Donk again go straight to the backline, straight on Denji. Get Denji super low. I mean, he gets rocked up high ground, but look how much payload progress they've gotten. They've pretty much already got it halfway there, even though they really haven't fully won a fight.
Yeah, but you're at this choke now. That's the thing. It's not the biggest concern here for Elvish that they're giving up this much space, because you now got Freefall in a choke that is very difficult to get through. And honestly, I think if you're Freefall and if you're Jobadonk, if you don't really get something going with this Malga this life, you might just have to mirror the Sigma here again, just to try to be able to help your team out a little bit more.
Okay, everybody getting super low on the side of Freefall, and unfortunately Suzu doesn't come out from Keegs in time. And that's another reset for their team. Going back to the spawn doors, and now with Super having access to artillery strike, I mean, even if they try to go straight for the payload, it's like a nuclear war zone.
And I mean, right now, no swaps coming out from Freefall. You look at the time bank, half of it is gone, and you're getting crucial staggers here. Jinx able to keep themselves alive here as well, a big thing for them right now. You cannot afford to stagger yourselves out, but look at Elvish here. 4 of their 5 ultimates about to be online here, while Freefall realistically gonna only have 1 right now.
I'm wondering who he's gonna try to duplicate again. Sonic has been duplicating a lot of DPS, and unfortunately there's not gonna be a DPS on the enemy side or the cat that they could duplicate, but maybe you just go for the Malga, maybe try to go for Sigma, just to try to help sustain your Rock forced to go into the ice block, not gonna be able to survive for too much longer, especially with the assist from Keegs. Kunai to the dome shuts it down, and with no speed boost to get your team back into the fight, looks like that first point will finally go to the way of Freefall.
I like the chase there from Freefall. Elvish was probably looking to maybe get another touch here on this, try to stall this one out as long as it could, but getting the kill there on the Denji really made sure that they were not going to be able to there. But look, Elvish still has all their ultimates. They didn't use one in that engagement. Hell, no one used an ultimate in that engagement. Freefall was able to win that off of that early pick, and they were able to just build momentum off it here. Freefall, though, they need to be able to keep that momentum up here. That 3.5 minutes is not necessarily comfortable for you right now, especially if you get this card decently far here in this push.
Yeah, I mean, didn't we see a 5-minute time make at one point completely disappear? So I'm not leaving anything up to chance. You got to make sure you play perfectly. Dong gets super low, and that's the thing when you're running the Bastion in the sky. I mean, still a very big target, easy to kind of get your flame started, easy to get things going. Jinx winds up getting caught out by the graphitic flex. Suzu comes out, but not before he takes one for the road and finally falls in the meantime. So now finally they're going to be able to stop this payload. Again, look at the ult economy. We've got plenty of ults that we can definitely win this fight with.
I was gonna say, did Sonic not notice Denji right there?
Oh, jeez. Yeah, let's say he's like, behind you! And trying to save you with the motorcycle. Not to get on it, but hopefully not to get exploded. But again, 5 ultimates from Freefall. Which ones do they try to even use here? I mean, it's gonna be tough to try to take over this high ground.
The thing is, though, is like whenever an ultimate comes out, you're just gonna have a response. Both sides. I mean, we have 9 ultimates. We've only used 1 ultimate this round. This round, only 1. I mean, these teams are waiting for the perfect opportunities, and you can tell neither one of them wants to make a mistake here.
Oh, and they wind up dropping the Bastion in the meantime, and now, oh man, luckily they didn't get dropped into the cage fight, but they're still stuck into a really tough spot. Blizzard comes out behind. Oh my gosh, artillery strike paired up with the Kai. Oh my gosh, I can't even keep track of the ultimates, man. The Satsuriki spree shuts everyone down. Triggered tag team with Sonic, and they are looking poised to be able to close out this point.
You need to start taking space right now if you're free fall. You need to take space. Elvish has ultimates that they can come back in very quickly here. You only have this consumer rush from Keegs here, and they already used
Suzu's
Suzu.
out. Yes, Suzu's out from Keegs, so now they're gonna have to just play the point. And with Doink getting super low, Donk has to just run out of there. Oh, and Bastion not gonna be able to survive. Looking for a catnap, not gonna be able to find it for the situation. For the time being, still gonna be able to get connection onto Donk. Too big of a body to lift up, so they're gonna have to just chonk him down the old-fashioned way, and stopping him just short of payload of this objective B. But I mean, again, only a minute left from Freefall. Not a lot of ultimates to work with either. This could be the tournament.
It could be the tournament, could be the season for them as well here. No swaps coming out from Freefall just yet, but the ult economies, the ult banks, they have been depleted, they have been checked, they have all been thrown out right now. Who get the first ultimate online here? Jinx is not that far away from a catnap, but who's the target? What's the value you look for here? Are you gonna drag him off the map, or are you just gonna try to drag him away from the fight? You have one more opportunity right now if you're Freefall, if you take a quick fight, but this could be final fight.
Yes, and the payload's too far away. You can't just go straight to it. You have to just actually win this fight raw before you actually make any type of commitment. Rox has been super quick to pull the trigger on these Blizzards, so now that Donk is in a really bad spot, just forced into the room, they have to contest the point. Yeah, they almost want to C9ing, 2 meters shy, 30 seconds left, but they lose the Bastion, so now bulk of their damage now gone. Denji comes out of the room, but look at where they position. Not much they can do. Catnap goes straight onto the Mauga. He doesn't want to risk getting blown up, so he has to just drop him early. Cage fight does come out, but now double Mauga action, triple Mauga action straight onto the point. They collide on the objective. Cage fight comes out. So much damage being depleted. Cage fight again. And it looks like they're going to be able to survive the onslaught of Maugas and move on into Point Charlie, looking to extend the series.
A minute and a half, you really cannot afford to lose a fight. If you do, you have to lose it quick. That's going to be the thing here. So after this door opens, you start pushing, you are basically playing with your lives, playing for your season here. You have a spree. That's it. Look at the other side, though. Catnap, Blizzard, Artillery, all online for Elvish. They are in a good spot right now. They're in the driver's seat. Hell, you can give up some space right now. I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to bait Elvish here because they know that Jovadong, they like to go charging in. They have punished them a number of times throughout the series, and they want to punish them one more time.
Yes, and now again coming down to the final minute of this map, it all comes down to this one fight. I mean, are they going to bait out some crucial ultimates? They are going to bait out the Kakai or the Satsuriki spree on top of the Kitsune, not finding anything on either side, but Denji winds up falling super low, has to just run for the hills, able to survive for the time being, but Sonic and Triggered still getting picks after picks, and they're slowly creeping that payload along. 30 seconds on the clock, but they still are just neck and neck for being able to close out this map. Blue has to touch, but winds up falling. Meter left. Denji falls super low. Rip the Belgo away, and now it's just a few bodies left to keep the series alive.
Stay on the card here, but you will need to clean up these picks. Freefall gonna be able to do it right here. A hold on the defensive side. 5 minutes on the time bank for Elvish. Whittled down to nothing. Freefall denied them in the final hour, and Freefall in the final couple of seconds extends this series. Is this a turning point for this team that has looked kind of lost at times throughout this one? Time will tell, but hey, we have time to tell that story.
Clutch factor built into all of the players on Freefall. I mean, again, that would look like such a dire situation for him. I mean, you had to look down the barrel and see 5 minutes and go, man, this is going to be a tough. Those first 2 points were not us. But then they locked it down and started playing so well on that Point Charlie. And look at all the adjustments they made. I mean, Donk, again, I mean, this dude was just being so aggressive, driving straight to the hearts of the backline. But it's the silver lining, right? It's a double-edged sword. You might wind up losing yourself kind of early, but you bait out a lot of crucial utility. And that's what you need to do when you're playing against this cat, composition. If you're baiting out Suzu, that's all of their resources gone, essentially.
Yeah, and I mean, I give it up to Freefall, their final map selection of them for the series, able to find a way to win that. I'm looking at the stats again, and I'm looking at Keegs, 3 deaths throughout the entire map right there. The support lines for these two teams have been playing out of their minds. Hell, you look at the stats from this series here, at least this last map, You would say it was close, but I think you would give the edge to Elvish in that one. This was a map that I don't think Freefall should have won. The 5-minute hold for them, though, I think woke something up in them. And now, with 2 more maps to go this series, potentially only 1 if Elvish does win, do we see a different Freefall team here this time around? That's going to be the interesting thing. Also, this was the first time this series we saw Jinxed come in for Freefall. We did not mention, I think we briefly mentioned that, but the first time we saw Jinx come in, and they did make a big impact.
Yeah, again, I think that made a huge difference in that matchup because, again, we weren't talking about like the matching jetpack cats flying through the sky, but that was like a difference maker. I mean, you saw several times Blue would get super low and just wind up plummeting to his death, all thanks to Jinx jumping in and doing some damage. I mean, 4K damage is not a lot, but it gets the job done. And I tell people all the time, the numbers don't tell you everything. I mean, you compare that to Blue's side of the coin. Sure, he has 10K damage, but only half as much damage, and that was the difference maker between these two.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you look at the stats here, you would probably give at least the advantage over to maybe Elvish here, especially with how Denji played, 29-7. They played incredible. And I don't think there was any point that entire last map they got necessarily punished, but I mean, I think you got some incredible performances. Keeg, Sonic, and Triggered, I thought played insane. Sonic and Triggered over 30 elims there. Big difference makers and probably a big reason why this series is still going on. But speaking of that, the series moves on with it. We already know what our next map will be. The maps now have reset. We're back over to Control right now. That is where we're going to be going as Elvish Soulknife decides to bring us to Busan for potentially our final map of the series.
The updated Busan. So yeah, every single map is a do or die situation. You either live or die on this series. Wondering if they're gonna, again, they're not gonna have the crucial bans that they needed, because I think that Tor ban definitely helped them out a ton, but now Tor back on the map.
Tor back on the map, but you want to not be back on the map. The Orisa that we have constantly kind of seen come out here from Jobadonk when they've struggled into some instances of poke, but Freefall immediately just getting rid of the cat here. I think you really started to just use some of the more, what I would say are those impactful bans now. Granted, there are still a couple heroes I think you can get rid of for each side that would be impactful, but it's really grasping at straws here.
Yeah, reaching, it's definitely a reach, right? Because I mean, the only other like viable ban I could think of in this matchup is maybe the Cassidy or something like that along those lines. But again, both players really, oh my gosh, both teams really like to lean on to a very similar set of hero pools.
Yeah, they really do here. But the biggest thing is that we've really seen a lot of poke come out here from Elvish Soulknife. And we talked about throughout this entire series the fact that Freefall has kind of struggled with it there. And I think Freefall actually dragged Elvish Soulknife in there to mirroring the Malga for the most part that last map, which is what you need to do. Can you do it time after time again, though? That will be the thing. That will be the thing we see here, especially going into Busan.
Oh, there she still goes. Yeah. She has something to say about that jetpack cat ban. What's she thinking?
She just wants the pop filter.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let her have her way with it. It's all good. Oh, there he goes. Oh, that is fantastic. I thought cat was banned, but apparently not for us.
And out of my household. Go my finger.
But now, again, Busan, the updated Busan. I don't think we've seen the updated Busan here in Season 8. Maybe we saw it on one of the other leagues. I don't recall it. I've casted quite a few of them, and it's the first one I'm seeing now that they've revamped this Busan. Have you gotten to see the changes at all on this map?
I've got to see a little bit of them. I think it kind of makes the map a little bit more fun, a little bit more open. But I think it's still, you could be punishing, you could definitely punish some teams here in a lot of these close core spaces that they have really now introduced with the rework.
I will say, I love all the additions. City Center really does, scratch that itch for a lot of people, makes it a little bit easier. But Mecha Base still sucks. I will say that for a fact.
Okay with Mecha Base. I'm okay with Mecha Base. At least we have a second inflatable.
That's true. I just wish on Mecha Base they give like the little elevator that they give you. Wow, that was the fastest I saw the duck fly off the map. But that little elevator they give on this point, I wish they put it on Mecha Base as well. So that way you have an accessibility point that you can get back to high ground once you drop down in that hole.
Yeah, it would be nice here. But look, again, coming in this map here, we talked about the Torb not being available last map, even though we thought it would struggle a little bit. Rocket just showed us that there's no such thing as a struggle on the Torb for them. But it's back now, and what is Freefall going to do? Oh, that's Gore of my duck. That's Gore of my comfort character. But again, Freefall, you're seeing Jobadon come back out here on this Malga. I think the entirety of their game plan here is they have to force Elvish to mirror it right now, because I think last map was a good sign there that Jobadon has really been able to kind of improve their Malga plays so far this series.
Oh yeah. So now they're gonna wind up relinquishing this point super early on. You saw Donk go sprinting into fake targets. I mean, they saw the turret, thought maybe it was a body isolated. Still gonna wind up actually contesting this point here, getting kind of low. Super actually winds up falling to triggers, and this is exactly where you want to start. This is a good, a good momentum turner for Freefall. And you were asking, like, is this the turning point for the series? And that might have been it, because now they're starting to play with some fire beneath them.
They are. I will say this, Killer Queen back in this map here for Freefall after Jinx, I think, played a really good cat last map for them here, but I think they want a little bit, I think Killer Queen has shown us a little bit maybe more flexibility for them, especially when you go back to how they played this Wu Yang back a little bit on not New Queen Street, King's Row. I thought it was a big difference maker for him there. But you're looking at Elvish here now trying to find a way back in. It's going to be difficult for them because Jobadon could just traverse a lot of space here very quickly.
Yeah, now it has to be super predictable on where they decide to go. Even if they go on this left room, you see Freefall quick onto the redirect. So now they're back onto the back onto the contest. And, Super looking potentially for this high ground to contest, but Trigger actually already there, already getting picks off. Blue winds up falling, and now, Donk actually overstaying his welcome, winds up falling in the meantime. So now a 180. I thought this point was definitely, or this fight in particular, was definitely going to go to the way of Freefall, but wind up playing a little too aggressive, and it's going to cost him.
Oh, it really is here. And I think the worst part is for Freefall here is you're going to stagger yourself out a little bit. You didn't stagger point. You didn't stall point right now. You could have gotten a little bit of extra percentage right there. Maybe probably about the 65%, I would say. Yeah.
Maybe.
But you're going to come back in with ultimates. You're going to have 4 ready to go. Soulknife's going to have about the same. But if you go a little bit quicker right now, you definitely have some ultimates that you could throw out there that Elvish really has no good response for. I mean, I expect to see Deadeyes actually come out very early on from both these two Cassies. That's what we've kind of seen that be the norm so far this series.
Oh yeah, they kind of match it. It's almost like the Kitsune rushes, right? When they match him up and they kind of just look for a comparison of ultimates. Denji, not gonna be able to find anything with his ultimate, just trying to thread the needle, but a little too much, a little too fancy with it. Tidal Blast does come out on the Donk. Double slam, double explosions. Not gonna be able to knock anybody off the map, but Donk actually put in a really rough spot. Gonna match the Kitsunes, and Sonic actually gonna duplicate the Kiriko. So creative with his duplicate choices lately. No, most of the time when you see an Echo duplicate, it's almost always onto a tank, but this time, finding a way to make it flashy. And they're still contesting this point with the Kakai Sanctuary.
But, I mean, Elvish is doing everything right here. They're finding picks, they're forcing Freefall to fall back, and look, Freefall, they invested all their ultimates in that fight. They didn't come out on top. Yeah, and it came at the cost of Elvish also investing all their ultimates here, but I thought Freefall had better ultimates, and now the Molten Core coming out on that high ground where Jobadon is just trying to play.
Yeah, Donk just can't do anything. He has to just sit there and wait for the lava to dissipate, and especially when they wind up losing Killer Queen, it lets it finally dissipates, and he's still going to commit to the cage fight. Chaos, unfortunately, she gets caught between a rock and a hard place. You either deal with the Malgo or you deal with the walls of the cage. And finally, Freefall finds a way to get into this fight, but at 87%, I mean, that's essentially a one-fight win situation.
Yeah, but honestly, I mean, that cage from Jobadon, even though Jobadon died pretty early there, it found its value. It was able to trap Elvish in there and use basically everyone from Freefall. Just say, okay, hey, we'll play outside of it. We won't get damaged and we can find the picks. And now, if you're Freefall, I mean, you can try to make this into a slow fight where it's one fight no matter what, but Sonic now, who's been vitally important, for Freefall these past couple maps, taking low early on here. Trigger, though, gonna have a Deadeye, but I say their name and they disappear.
Nice shot from Super. He's been clinking heads throughout the series, man. He's been lighting it up, and unfortunately, that will be the last time he tries to do it for this fight. Finally, Denji connects onto the graphitic flux, and he gets the 2 targets he's looking for, and they immediately fall. and a quick little reset from Freefall maybe gives them an opportunity to get back to the point. But I mean, again, they need ultimates. They need some way to try to survive this next engagement.
Jobadon coming back out on the ball here as Triggered and Sonic, probably not the people you want to go touch right now. Triggered ultimate online. Well, guess what? No, it's not. They die pretty early on. The touch will come out there from Jobadon, but you need to get the rest of your team over towards point.
Super, falling super low. And so is Donk. I mean, not much he can do. He has to take this Tidal Blast. Caught him on a corner. Explosion gets the two. Knocked on their back. Both teams falling super low. And guess what? They get the 2 picks that they're looking for. Killer Queen, a clutch Tidal Blast to keep them alive. And that might do it for this point. 180. I mean, the desperation ball swap to contest this point is enough to get them across the finish line.
Freefall doing everything they need to do here just to keep this series alive. Taking this first point gets a lot of those nerves, a lot of pressure off you here. If you're Elvish, hey, you can be looking at that one thing, you know, a late ball swap and a nice play coming out from Killer Queen. The only reason we lost that one. That's it. And again, you look at the stats here. You look at how Freefall's playing. They're playing smart. They're playing safe. Sonic, not only dying once there. I mean, you could tell. And like I said, Sonic has been vital. And this DPS line for Freefall has been vital to how this team has played, especially in the maps they've won, and especially how they played last map, because they were all over the place. And look, swaps coming out from Freefall here. I honestly would not have hated the Mei from Sonic there, but I think their Echo has just been too much of a problem here.
Yeah, it has a huge pick potential, because if you get Denji, like if somehow Denji gets, you know, chunked down super low, unless you have Suzu to keep you alive, that eat is not enough. That beam, the focusing beam does so much damage to a tank, and it scales. Again, if you're below half HP, it's going to do extra bit of damage, and with you're a tank, it just feels like it hurts. So now they're going to have to find a way to deal with this Echo.
Yeah, and again, another thing that's kind of been another person who's kind of quiet here has been, well, Rockcraft. So I was going to talk about them and Triggered, make sure they get taken out early on. This Torb not finding the value you've been truly hoping for so far.
Dex, you got to stop talking about these people, because every so far in this map in particular, every person you try to mention, it just collapses.
I'm going to start talking about myself.
Don't do that either. Oh man, yeah, another dominant fight win for Freefall. And again, Trigger's been playing so, you know, evasive. I mean, been playing the Cassidy, swapping over the Sojourn. I mean, you saw him play Ashe on that last map on Dorado, just looked super strong on the hit scan. So he's got to keep that going throughout the rest of the remainder of the series if they want to try to bring this back.
Freefall, though, off to a good start right now. I think Jobadon going over to this Ramatra, it's going to be a little bit better for them. Again, they won't have that same kind of like charge in and, you know, cause a lot of havoc kind of potential right now, but you have a more, I think, sustained kind of one where you're going to be able to take space, pop that Nemesis form to keep yourselves alive here, and just be able to drag out these fights, which I think is what Freefall wants to do, because look, this fight has been going on for a while. You find the first pick, you're going to be able to basically guarantee yourself at least 60, even 70% right now in this fight, even if you lose it.
Yeah, this is not good for Elvish. I mean, they got to wipe quickly. I mean, again, yeah, you talked about, I mean, they took all this time to take over that position. They baited out the Suzu from Keegs. Donk got, you know, kind of low, but then they kind of did nothing with it. They just died up on that high ground. No type of payload or objective pressure at all. So now 70% for Freefall, and Denji making the swap over to the Ramatra as well.
I mean, if Freefall, again, drags out this fight here, yeah, there's going to be ultimates on both sides, but you could just have an ult dump fight here, win it, and then go on to that final decider map here, as you already see the Consumer Rush out from Keegs, as they run early, but they lose Jobadon.
He couldn't see him. He wanted to put, the Queen wanted to put Tidal Blast on him, just couldn't see him in that fight. And that's got to be a big mistake from Freefall. I mean, again, we talked about the aggressiveness from Donk. It's a double-edged sword, obviously. I mean, most of the time it's been helping when he plays that Malga. He gets those resources out. But in that fight, nothing redeemable off that one.
But here's the other thing. I mean, Freefall, yeah, you would probably have loved to win that fight there and end the map, go to a map 7. But you still have 4 ultimates. Granted, Soulknife here is going to have 3 very soon. And if Denji plays their cards right, they're going to have an Annihilation to match. But still, if you could find an early pick onto someone, say, like Rockcrafts or maybe even Sad Blue Whale, it gives you everything you need. As there's already the Annihilation and the duplicate.
Oh, this is such a big Annihilation. Yes, everybody also low. They couldn't really move anywhere. Blue, I mean, you could throw down that Kakai Sanctuary, but it's not going to mean anything in this fight. And that's going to do it for this map. Map 7 between these two. It could have gone any other way.
I mean, like we both said after the last map there, did Freefall wake up? Did they finally, figure it all out? And I think the answer so far has been yes, but what happened to Elvish here? I mean, they almost win the first point, then you see Freefall make some swaps, and that's not something that we've praised Elvish for throughout this entire series. The fact that they're not afraid to make swaps, they make the swaps at the right time. They didn't do it this map at all, and it comes back to bite them. And now it's a winner take all here in our final map of the night. And if you're Elvish, the pressure's all on you. It's all on you.
Yeah, this is it, man. It's a do or die situation. I mean, you talked about the best of 3 before. Now it's just a best of 1. 1 map to decide Season 8 C League champion. I mean, again, these guys are playing with the fire in their bellies. Again, that Dorado map was really the deciding factor for me in this matchup, because they looked totally bleak going to Point Charlie, and for them to be able to hold that down and bring it back, and now a very dominant Busan response, I don't think anybody can stop him now.
I think it's going to be difficult, especially when you look back at the rest of this entire season here for this Freefall team. Outside of a loss on Runasapi and Kings Road to Pachisuma back in the second game for them, you have to kind of look at it like, where do we bring them? They've won every other map they've played. They've won every other mode they've played. And the only 2 maps that they've lost on, you've already played.
Oh man, this is really scary for Elvish, because I mean, like I said, they're starting to feel the pressure a little bit. We got another hybrid map, and we actually are going to Neon Junction. So this is one of those maps, again, it's very 50-50. I think a lot of teams have had some practice on it, but they don't like to play it a whole lot. Again, if you ask any hybrid map for a lot of these teams, their first instinct is always to go Kings Row. So now that we've already played that map, this map in particular could spell a different story for Elvish. They have to lock it in now.
You have to remember, Kings Row, the first time we played the series, guess what? It was Freefall that won that one. However, Kings Row, more of a brawl map through and through. Neon Junction, I think most people look at it more as a poke map, which has been one thing we've been talking about a lot here. The fact that Elvish Soulknife really likes to play this poke, and they've looked really good on it. And hey, you talk about playing it, well, guess what? Elvish has played it, while Freefall hasn't. I think it all goes into the reason why they're bringing us here now, but has the poke been figured out by Freefall? Or does Elvish still have something up their sleeve? They have the first ban, and I think they're making the right one here, as when the bans come up, they're banning out the Echo, which has been something that has just kind of dominated them here recently.
Yeah, again, Sonic being, the MVP and Rookie of the Year, channeling his inner proper, I think you want to shut him down a little bit. I mean, force him back onto the Xion, force him back over to the Mei, make things a little bit harder for him to get value off of it. But at the same time, what does Freefall want to retaliate with? Because I mean, they've already gotten rid of Sigma, which I think is going to be the crutch that they want to lean on with Denji in this map. Maybe they look towards the Orisa. But I don't know. What do you think the response is going to be here from Freefall?
I don't think it's going to be the Orisa. I think you're more looking at that support line here right now. And you're either getting rid of the Mizuki, or honestly, you're maybe just getting rid of the Kiri here. But I think it's going to probably end up being the Mizuki. I think that one just makes the most sense, considering that Elvish has been, I think, the team that say, like, hey, we're going to play this Mizuki a lot more frequently than what we've seen from Freefall.
Yeah, because I mean, you saw during Dorado when they were trying to opt for the Jetpack Cat, wasn't that successful. So potentially, if they kind of lean blue onto the Mizuki or the Wu Yang, maybe it gives them a lot better chance. You see the Wu Yang already being banned originally from Freefall, back on that control, or on that hybrid map. So going to be a tough ask for them. But again, it all comes down to this one decision. That's why they're taking their time with this. I mean, this one ban could make or break their series. This is for the season.
Yeah, and you said it right there, for the season here. For the championship, this is your last ban no matter what. So take your time with it. And also,
Unless you draw.
Possibility. Map 8, everyone. I hope you're ready for it here. But that's a big possibility as well. But the other thing is, like, you want to make the right one. I don't think a tank ban would be impactful here. Because, like, the only reason you go after a tank here, if you're Freefall, is saying, like, okay, hey, we're going to be able to beat them on the Sigma. What would they go to next? Just so we could get that out of the way and make it a lot easier for us.
I'm trying to think which team. My bad, Dex.
No, I was just saying, you could tell, like, they're taking their time and they're doing that. They're actually banning out the Zarya here.
Okay.
Which, again, I think it's them saying, hey, we feel like we can beat them on the Sigma. What would they swap to next? And apparently it's the Zarya.
Yeah, that's not a bad call. I was going to say, I'm trying to think of which series it was. I don't know if it was in C League or not, but we had, a full holds happen on this map, and even fuller holds happen on this map. So draw not completely out of the question for these teams. I know they want to close it out, especially with how late it's getting for some of these players. They want to close the series out now. But
2 hours. It's been 2 hours.
Minimum. But again, these teams are fighting neck and neck, tooth and nail. Again, this whole series has been going the distance, and now we're going to the final map between these two teams.
No, we're going to the final map. We're going to the final map. It's if we go to a map 8, then we just jinxed it and cursed it into history here. But hell, I don't. It would be really fun to figure out if the package is ready for an 8th map. But time will tell.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. These guys have been finding answer after answer, and that's where I love to see these high-level Overwatch matches where they like to, make these adjustments and counter adjustments. And you saw, again, Sonic wasn't, being too loud. Again, MVP of the season for that DPS lineup, so people were like, oh, he's been kind of quiet at the beginning of of the series, and definitely it was like a late bloomer.
Yeah, definitely, especially when you look back here. You can go back to Atlas a little bit. Sonic was making huge plays there. It's going to be really interesting here to see what's going to be going on. Looks like, though, we will be getting some subs coming in for our final map. It will be Jinx coming back in for Kill a Queen. You remember Jinx going back on Dorado. That's when they played the cat. And Jinx, I thought, did a really good job on. So you might be seeing a little more cat come out here from Freefall this map. Make or break kind of swap here for them. But you can tell they have the confidence in their support player. Yeah, that's. I mean, you want to talk about confidence. That's crazy to do. You go on a 2-game win streak with this set roster, and the final map, the one to determine the season, you make that sub. That's confidence going into it. And if I'm Jinx, I'm like, hey man, leave Killer in. She's been playing really well. She's got us this far. I don't know if I want to just try to sub me in to try to turn things around. But then again, like you said, they were playing the cat really well against Blue, and it forced Blue to make that change, make that swap off of the cat. And maybe if you have something similar in terms of skill level, maybe he's painting a different picture. Maybe it will here, but you see Freefall on the defense first. On the defense first here, going to be starting off on the Ramatra, which again, I think it's a much better choice here for them. I think playing the Malga at least out the gate could be a punch here a little bit more on this first point. You have the shield, you have the Nemesis form to be able to kind of sustain through this here. Triggered and Jinx, so that's gonna be the combo here for Freefall when it comes to being carried around by the cat. You have the Bastion here for Elvish, and Rockcraft's back on the Torb. I mean, you are seeing everyone basically play the heroes that they have been known for throughout the season, at least throughout this entire series here in our final map.
Yep. Again, you're looking at the role stars for both of these teams. They're a do or die situation. They want to close out the win. They're going to play their best characters going forward in this final map. Denji back onto the Sigma. Donk back onto the Ramatra. And again, the cats matched out. Who's going to wind up falling first?
And again, on this first point, Super could find a lot of value on this Bastion here, just being able to try to chunk down Freefall, but you see the shield from Jobadonk and then the Nemesis form come out for them. They have a lot of survivability, but right now, Sonic over on this Mei, which has looked good for them throughout the night. Super, though, very low, but it'll be Rux that falls first.
Yep, and then you saw, Denji has to kind of fall back, wait for the team to get healed up. Both DPS getting super duper low. And again, Triggered's been doing, silent work. He's been getting these pop shots, been doing a lot of work. And look at that, Rock's finally giving up on the Torbjorn. Doesn't want to wait for it to get that major perk. Instead, just going to go for the Mei right off the rip.
Thank you for dual pitching cam there, but again, you have to kind of live out this Bastion turret form right now, and pumping damage into Joe Badonk, especially in Nemesis form when they have the arms up, doesn't really do much here for him. And already a minute 15 gone here for Elvish, but all they need to do is get one pick to go their way, and you're going to see this entire comp is snowball onto the rest of Freefall.
Yeah, just looking for that one pick is the most important one. Denji has to walk forward just to try to make some space, and Donk unfortunately overstayed his welcome. Triggered looking for bodies, doesn't even look up, doesn't even need to look up. The brim of the hat cutting off his mission. But look at that, finally you get rid of the tank, making some space onto the payload. And Sonic winds up getting rocked, and now Denji's going to capitalize, rip him up in the sky, just jumping on his head, not going to be able to survive for too much longer. And it looks like they're going to be able to take at least a tick, if not the whole first point.
I mean, here's the thing, if you're Freefall, just keep throwing bodies out there. Try to whittle the time back as much as you can, but they're not going to do that. I'm surprised, but thank you for pitching can number 3. But if you're Freefall, 2 minutes off that time bank, again, Joe Badonk falling first, there was basically the beginning of the end of that fight and that point. You just need to be able to kind of stick around a little bit longer there if you're Joe Badonk. But you look at the ultimates online, 4 ultimates for Freefall, or for Soulknife. Freefall, though, going to have 3-4 of their own and ready as well. So you could really see this Freefall team play at this choke point right now.
I wonder if we're going to see any Blizzards as well, because, I mean, both of the Blizzards are ready for each of the Meis. Maybe we see Sonic try to commit theirs first, but again, they think they want to dwindle more this time bank before they make any big commitments. But Donk actually winds up falling. Blizzard comes out, winds up still getting 2, booping the Sigma just into the team. Unfortunately, Donk winds up falling early on in that fight, so they're not going to have a tank for this subsequent engagement, but finally getting a win under their belt.
It doesn't matter. I mean, Jinx can go back there and get Joe Badonk back into this fight pretty quickly here. But you're just looking to get rid of some time right there. I mean, look, already down to 3.5. You still are probably at least guaranteed a minute worth of pushing. So you're okay with that here right now. Elvish, though, I mean, they could start throwing stuff at you. And they could start throwing stuff at you hard.
Ooh, okay, somebody break the wall, please. Let me get in there. Gotta be careful of the train as well so you don't get ran over. High Noon still locked and loaded, not gonna be able to find any type of success. Denji willing to pop the Gravitic Flux, does get a couple bodies, but just gonna focus primarily onto the Cassidy, and that's gonna be able to do it for the fight. A really late Blizzard as well from Roxcraft. I mean, the fight was already over, but I think the Annihilation put some pressure on him, made him feel like they had to use that there, and that's not a bad ultimate to bait out.
No, it's not. You have Catnapping and Tsunorush still ready to go here for Freefall. Elvish, they have this artillery and they have their own rush. Joe Badonk now off of the Sigma, going over to the Malga. Instead, they want to be able to punish. They want to be able to kind of play the aggressive play style that, granted, while we have criticized them for throughout this series here a decent amount, when their Malga is firing on all cylinders, man, do they look like the best tank out there on the field. And again, Denji's looked great throughout this entire series. No bad map for them here.
Yeah, they have to find a way to bait out the Suzus. Again, when you only have that solo support, Cat's been doing a lot of the legwork, just kind of lifting up the Cat. They're going to rip down Denji, but I mean, again, so much damage with that Kitsune Rush from Chaos. Not much you can do there. Donk does get a little consolation prize of the Bastion Skull, but that's going to do it for Point Bravo. And again, I don't want to count the eggs before they hatch, because again, we saw that 5-minute time bank disappear. 3.5 minutes on the side of Elvish.
Super's using artillery. I have to imagine they're using artillery. They almost found Triggered. Yeah, either it was a mistake or they were making a swap and they swap over to the Cass now. Sabla Whale, though, still on the Cat. You can see Jinx still on the Cat as well. Sonic, though, has this Blizzard online. They can really use that just to try to stabilize. Wow. Especially losing Joe Badonk early.
Oh my goodness, a great Blizzard retaliation from Sonic, though. 2 picks. I mean, essentially a third once you get rid of that Mei. I mean, again, you lose Dog super early and you expect to lose that fight. But one ultimate from Sonic to 180s that fight.
Again, you just need to stabilize right there. The Blizzard does that. You have a Deadeye coming up online, so that might just be used as a little bit of a zoning. But you look at Elvish, Blizzard, Flux, Catnap. Catnap here, whoever they land onto, they're just going to drag into the middle of their team and hope they die very quickly.
Right, that's the hope, right? You just try to hope you get somebody that can actually fall in that fight. Uh-oh, Sky Noon winds up getting cut off by a wall again, and everybody's still hiding for the running for the hills. Denji forced to use Eat, and with the Graphitic Flex as well, locked and loaded. I think he's going to want to try to use it here. Yes, he does. Winds up catching quite a few bodies in that. Even the ones stuck in the room, everybody's super low. Denji not finding any picks quite yet, but Sonic still in a really rough spot. Has to use his Ice Block just to try to survive and let his team do all the work around him, and that's exactly what they're going to do. They are going to work.
And that from Sad Blue Whale missed in that entire engagement right there. And look at Freefall, just being able to live throughout that entire fight. You have Blizzard, you have Cage, you have Kitsu, you have your own Catnap back. Elvish is going to have, yeah, their Blizzard and their Deadeye. That's about it here. 100 seconds left to go on this clock. Freefall is now in a really good spot here where you can start cycling through your ultimates. You don't have to use everything in one engagement, but you want to just be able to hold on to some here.
Oh, did he that? What an eat! The reaction! Shutting down League MVP, baby. Not gonna happen to me. Cage fight comes out in the nick of time. Luckily didn't get stunned out of that ultimate as well. But man, what heads up play from Denji. Eats the Sonic Blizzard.
Again, that could be something that turns this entire map and this entire series on its head. Much like what we saw a little bit back on Dorado with some of the ultimates coming out there from Freefall, finding huge value, sometimes just canceling them out. Thank you for that photo. But you look at Super Deadeye online. They're going to go flying into the backline here. They're looking for some heads. They're going to be able to find one.
They get one out, but here we go. Donk needs to try to survive this engagement, going straight for the backline. Winds up killing Super in the process. And Jinx helping clean up the rest of the people. Most improved player for a reason. Jinx has been playing so well. Again, after coming back in from being subbed, I was genuinely surprised to see him, still playing so well. Final 30 seconds for Elvish.
Final 30 seconds, but look, Freefall has nothing. Nothing in their back pockets. No ultimates. Elvish, they have a Kitsune Rush, they have the Catnap, and most importantly, they have the Flux. Especially with how Freefall's been playing. They've been playing around this cart. A single threat with the Ice Wall stops the Kitsune Rush, dead and tracked, and you lose the Flux!
Oh no, that's so bad. Chaos staring at Heartbreak. I don't think they have anybody to touch yet. Blue just has to go to touch. Winds up going to fall in the process. Denji making the swap over to the Wrecking Ball. Now it's just desperation trying to get any type of bodies on the point. Rock's so close to a Blizzard. Has to try to survive. Gets it off in the nick of time, but it's too late. Everybody's dead. And now Denji has to watch as he's a popsicle and his entire team fall. And now a win condition for the season. Freefall have an opportunity.
You look back at Dorado, you look back the 5-minute time bank that Elvish Soulknife had to complete the map. They don't complete it. And I think we said right there, well, time will tell. Thank you for the pigeons. Time will tell if that was a turning point for Freefall in that map and in this series. Time has told us it has been. It's been more than a turn. It has been a complete 180. They have stepped up. They have shown up and shown out. Elvish Soulknife, we came into this map, and I talked about it here. The pressure is all on them. They were up 3-1. 3-1 going into at a point this series. 3-3 now, and not completing the map doesn't leave you with a lot of confidence here. And now basically any little mistake that Elvish has throughout this entire round could be something that is their downfall. But hey, same thing could be said for Freefall here. They have not played perfect throughout this series. Hell, you can go back and look at the first 4 maps of this series and say Freefall looked like they were being outclassed at times.
Yeah, again, it's all about the quick on-the-fly decision-making for these players. It makes or breaks it. Like when you decide to pop the Suzu, when you decide to teleport, those are all factors. I mean, when you decide to wall, Blizzard, all those are crucial points for their team. And then it comes down to like just a game of inches and millimeters. I mean, that wall from Sonic was the death note for Elvish. They had ultimates. They couldn't even get him off. I mean, literally walled off the Kitsune Rush from Chaos. Got to be kicking themselves, but you've got to forget about it because this is an opportunity for you to close out the map now. Close out the series.
This is a comp right now for Freefall that wants to be able to run in and find some picks early on here. But if you are Super, you need to be able to get rid of Jobadon because outside this cardiac overdrive, once that's gone, they don't really have a lot, but you lose Denji early on. This first point might already be over with that one pick. Oh my goodness.
Or is it? Hold on, Dex. I was gonna say, don't count it too early. 2 picks, okay. Not gonna be able to get the third. I thought Super was gonna go crazy for a moment. I mean, Donk got super low, so it definitely could have fell in favor of them, but 1 fight win for Freefall. And again, Donk doing it with the Mauga. And Denji surrendering it, finally going back over to the Malga as well. I don't know if this is what you want to see or don't want to see if you're an Elvish fan.
Again, like I said, coming into this map here, Freefall, they made the ban on this Zarya here, saying like, okay, if we're going to be able to get them off of this Sigma over to something else, what would it be? Would it be the Zarya? Potentially, but I mean, this has been the thing that we've been talking about. Yeah, you lose Denji here early, not the biggest concern, honestly, here for Freefall. But whenever, actually, no, a huge concern, my bad, for Elvish. I thought it was for, I'm getting my names mixed up, dude. It's been a long night.
Yeah, I was saying it's a long series. I mean, and again, we don't typically see the Denji trying to match the Malga. Typically, we've seen him just go for the Sigma and just try to outpoke and outlive him. But desperate times calls for desperate measures. And, you know, Rock going back over to the Torbjorn as well. Maybe he tries to just stick it out until we get that major perk again. But here we go, another Blizzard locked and loaded for Sonic. Is he willing to use it, though?
I think they're going to see after this Kitsune Rush right now. Because look, the Kitsune Rush, just look at how much space that's just forcing Elvish to back up. You go back to King's Row, Freefall was not afraid to take all the space in the world. Elvish, though, they have some tools at their disposal coming to this fight, but they can't. And there's the Blizzard.
Yep, and then look at that. I mean, Sonic doesn't have to do anything. He just sits back, sees the Suzu come out, and was able to throw it from downtown and still get so much success from it. I mean, look at this turnaround from Team Freefall. Now have 5 minutes, and they will be Season 8 C-League champions.
5.5 minutes. If it would be more poetic, there couldn't be more poetic here for Elvish Soul Knight if they come out on top to have to hold for 5.5 minutes here right now. They have some ultimates to play with here, so they can stabilize it here. But Freefall, again, they're playing aggressive, and Elvish, they're struggling, and Elvish heavily investing into this one.
Yeah, they have to use everything. I mean, sure they win this fight, but again, Dex, I mean, think about, look what they just had to use. They had to use the both DPS ults and the cage fight. I mean, how do they they need to start building up some ultimates fast if they want to try to bring us back.
That shows you how nervous that team is right there. They might already be out of this game mentally. They invested heavily into the fight where realistically the cage fight might have just been enough. The Molten Core was probably more than enough. The Deadeye was overkill there. Now one team fight is all you have left here if you're Elvish. If you lose one, well, guess what? The series and season is over.
Oh man, Denji gets walled, able to get out in the nick of time, but he gets tidal blasted. Big jump in the back, Tom gets chopped down. Oh man, that's what they needed. They're gonna rip back somebody from their team, and there it is. Rocks fall, ones are falling as well. Trigger gets two picks, pops the High Noon. Trying to turn this around, they lose their tank. Still want to close out the series. Denji caught out by the High Noon. And now it's just up to Blue to survive, contest this point. Dog gets back in time, and now it's just a desperation touch just to contest to keep their series alive.
Considering much out here from Keegs, there's the Blizzard from Sonic. That might just be it. From 3-1 down in the series to your champions of C-League here in Season 8. Freefall, with an almost unexpected comeback, finds themselves sitting atop of the throne here.
I mean, unbelievable. You telling me you lose your tank at the start of that fight and you wind up winning the map off of that? I mean, what heads up play again from Triggered and Sonic. These guys have been so in tune of knowing when to pop their ultimates at such an opportune moments and just completely 180 these fights.
Again, you go back to after Atlas, I would not think we would be sitting here seeing this on our screen right now. Everyone played out of their minds. Everybody on this team played out of their minds. And again, Jinx coming in for 2 maps this series, which were vitally important to them. Dorado and Neon Junction to play this cat. Huge for them as well. Killer Queen, I thought played excellently. And I mean, hey, I might have criticized a lot of what we saw from Jobadonk throughout this entire series, but these final couple maps, they played maybe the best I've seen them play all season long here, and at the right time as well. Freefall, Season 8 BPL champions. Again, it's almost insane to be saying that after the performance that we saw on Atlas from Elvish.
Yeah, I mean, it's so poetic. I mean, to think about a very early outing from the kickoff tournament, and for them to be just run the regular season, run the playoff brackets, defeat Elvish in that upper finals, and then they face them again in the grand finals and bring it back on the precipice of defeat. They find a way to dig their heels in the sand and come back victorious.
I mean, hey, backs against the wall. Some teams respond differently, but this Freefall team responded absolutely correctly. And again, a lot of great performances all around from that DPS line. We talked about it a lot throughout these final 3 maps of this series. And hell, you can look back at Kings Row, the one map they won the first 4. That DPS line just played out of their minds. And you have to give them a lot of credit for this one here. I mean, you look at the series story below us right now. Every map was close. But especially in those first 4, Elvish looked like the better team. These last couple maps, though, Freefall found ways to win, was really close. I think the 5-minute hold on defense on Dorado flipped a switch in this team, and they never looked back.
I told you, it was the turning point for their roster. I mean, their entire team. I mean, you got to understand, when you get such a comeback win like that, your team has got to be going crazy, start screaming from the top of your lungs and just knowing, like, we turned that map around. I mean, it's insane to hear from it, but I think we're just getting ready for a championship interview for this Freefall roster. And I want to hear what they're thinking, because this is an amazing series to talk about.
Yeah, no, and like you said, the Freefall roster, we don't have 1, we don't have 2, we have everybody.
Oh, gosh.
We have everybody.
We have like 8 people.
Everyone is going to come in, and everyone is joining the room right now. The entirety of Freefall. Wow, this is a lot more people than I thought.
There's a lot of people on our team.
There's a lot of you guys, but hey,
we had room for more. Get 2 other coaches in here.
Hell, if you can, go ahead. The only person stopping you is Solomon.
Yeah, I want to say that's what we're missing. So big congratulations from Freefall. You guys, I mean, what a comeback. Tell me, what is your guys' like thought process after that Dorado map?
Well, we knew it was always winnable. I was telling everybody that it doesn't matter how far we go down. We are the best team. We made a lot of mistakes today, losing to ourselves. So I wish the season continued so we can continue to improve. But we won today, and that's what matters. And we never gave up. We believed in ourselves the entire time. We won.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
On Dorado, this wasn't on purpose, but I'm pretty sure what happened is the classic Overwatch situation of the other team is just playing some bullshit, and then you absolutely roll over them because they're playing some bullshit they don't know, and then we swap to what we did know how to play, and like that just like, and when you're playing against some bullshit, you start playing a little sloppier. So really, it was like what happened was they were playing really good against us playing bad, and then they chilled out a bit, and then we locked in, basically, and they didn't know how to adapt to that.
I think that's honestly what it looked like the whole time. It looked like you guys were kind of disheveled for a bit, and once you got onto Point Charlie, you guys all kind of honed in and kind of synergized really well for the remainder of that map and the remainder of the series.
Yeah, there definitely were some misplays, especially I'd say like Atlas is probably the map that we lost that like we should have won the most. So I think everybody definitely was definitely a bit shaken up after some of the maps. But again, they started playing what they were good at, and they started rolling. You know, they started getting the momentum going, and Elvish Soulknife just couldn't keep up.
Yeah, and I mean, you gotta give Elvish Soulknife a lot of credit here. Kept you guys incredibly close throughout this one here. And honestly, there was a point, especially in the first half of this series, where it really seemed like their poke comp was giving you guys a lot of problems here. But in these last 3 maps, we saw you guys basically overcome that poke comp on all 3 maps. And it was something where it's like, it felt like you guys were basically saying, if we can get through this poke comp, we know we can beat them no matter what. Was that the case?
It kind of felt like that.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say the playing against the poke comp in like the last series like this was actually really interesting. It's something that we talked about. I know I heavily believed in it. I don't know if any of my other teammates did, but we didn't know how to play into Sigma at all throughout like the entire season. And so it was like really cool because towards playoffs we felt a little bit more comfortable. And in this game it definitely showed that we definitely still have a lot of weak spots, but we overcame it and we won. Smile.
Yeah, Yeah, I will say, I think probably the biggest factor towards overcoming their poke comp was that Sonic just kind of locked May and just locked in every time. Because you could tell he was doing so much on the hero that it's like before we had played May, you know, their Sig was able to kind of just walk wherever he wanted and do whatever. He wasn't getting a lot of pressure. And then Sonic just kind of starts playing the May and he starts to be able to actually hit those crucial walls and actually be able to like properly deny their Sigma for the first time in this series. And I think that was like kind of really the big turning point.
Yeah, obviously with the May, that was something we talked about a little bit on the broadcast. Was like we weren't seeing a whole lot of splash and a whole lot of flashy plays from Sonic. A little quiet going for like the Xion and Echo to start, but then slowly started to ramp up as things goes along. Is that kind of how you guys felt like throughout the season in general, just of how your guys' start was? I mean, obviously that performance in a kickoff Clash tournament, you guys wanted to see a lot more success from it, and then over time you guys started just building up, or what's your mindset on that?
At least for like me, it really just felt like this is what happens with every BPL team. I think we won because we scrimmed the most. Like we got a lot of scrims in. A lot of them were really bad too. Like we were getting booked against like top of like OD 4.3 teams and some shit like some weeks, and every time we got like external, it was always a team that only played ball.
My bad.
We just kept scrimming. And, like even though we were getting like really bad scrims, we just kept going and we just got better in playing as a team because we just played more, you know? Everybody wanted to play, everybody had a good time, I'd like to say. At least I'm speaking for myself. And I really, that's what really matters at BPL, you know? Having a good time, screaming a lot, and then also winning, you know?
Amen.
Yeah. And I mean, hey, you guys did a lot of winning throughout this entire season. Only three maps dropped before, actually, yeah, only 3 maps dropped before this series here. And I mean, one of the more dominant teams probably ever in BPL here, but again, a 7-map series to end it off, especially as coming into that 7th map as the underdog, I imagine it has to be something where you guys felt absolutely incredible being able to come out on top of.
Yeah, no, it felt really amazing. It was like, I don't know. I feel like I've been competing for a really long time. I like to feel like a veteran, and so I go into most matches, and I don't really get any nerves. But going into this match, especially, I respect a lot of players on the enemy team, and I've been like low-key freaking out a little bit all day long. And so when we started going down, it's like I was able to keep like a level head, right, going into it. I never was like, oh shit, it's over. But I was still like it got the nerves going, and I haven't played a match like this in a really long time, so it was really, really cool.
Well, with that being said, we have to give an MVP to one of you guys, and of course, we already talked about the MVP of the season and Rookie of the Year, but it's got to be MVP for the Grand Finals, going to the way of Sonic once again.
Let's go.
Let's go.
If Sonic running the back to Johnson of BPL,
Possibly.
maybe.
LeBron status?
LeBron.
Maybe.
I think
Brady
now, like I'm still like,
Hey, 2016 Cavs run right here for you guys in the finals.
Leo.
3-1, down 3-1.
But yeah, seriously, big ups to Sonic, the Brady, I guess, of the league. Just absolute star-studded performance, not only tonight but throughout the entire season. Rookie of the Year, and of course the actual MVP for DPS. So big congratulations to you guys and for the entire team of Freefall. We're actually going to bring in the runner-up now of C League. We'll bring in Elvish. Again, thank you everybody for Freefall. Any farewells?
Yeah.
Say bye.
Before we go, I was on 3 a.m. cup of coffee. I was on Apollo, and I was on Curd and Oats. Granted, 2 of those are my sandwiches, but I had 1,287 days of losing. And it just feels so nice to finally be back where I belong. Let's be real. I'm
back on the phone.
0 days since last Jinx win. Actually, can we ask how many days has it been since your first BPL win, Jinx?
How long ago was that?
It's season
6
1.
years, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
6
It's
years ago.
6 years ago that Jinx won BPL, so it's been 6 years. That's crazy.
I just want to say thank you for the support this season and the votes for most improved. It's just feels nice to finally win after all that losing. A lot of people, like, you know, rightfully so, doubted. And yeah, and shout out to Saja Pop for breaking this curse, and shout out to Pachisuba because that team's awesome. And lastly, shout out to Rock Crafts. Came in a really like weird situation, and you played Torbjorn, and that's like honestly super respectable because that's what I would have done too. Like that's an honest character, and you're the only honest player in this lobby. So that's all.
All right. Thanks again, Freefall. Congratulations on your win. Big shouts to them for coming in for the winner's side interview. We're going to get Elvish Soulknife in here next just to get a couple questions in before we wrap it up tonight.
Yeah, and again, a great season here for Freefall, but as Elvish slowly starts to make their way in here now, as it's, here they come, all coming in now.
Brother.
Your runners up here in Elvish Soulknife. Guys, not the result you were looking for here tonight, but still an incredible series and an incredible season for y'all.
Not wrong.
Not wrong. I literally looked at my Sullivan page after we lost. I was like, it just says runner up like 3 times, and I'm like, great. I'm turned into the Carpet C League.
I'm honestly not too mad. I got second place for my first ever time on BPL.
Yeah, obviously 3 consecutive season runners up, but it shows it's still a testament to your skill, the consistency that you have to still make it to that grand final spot. It's tough to do, man. I will say, Denji, like, I mean, obviously you being like one of the lone star tanks onto the roster, just tell us your mindset. Like, what do you try to look for going into these matchups, and just obviously you suffering some of these losses, or have the highs of the wins. What's your mindset going into these?
It's not over until it's over. Like most of the time I go, I'm like, if we lose a map, I just was like, it's 0-0 still. Like, just don't think about the past. Another thing was, I was like, okay, I'm in Grand Finals again, and I went for 1K the first time I was in Grand Finals, and I went for 17K the second time in Grand Finals. I don't know what's going on there, but every time I get drafted really low, I end up making it. So I guess that's a thing.
Yeah, they gotta put some respect on your name, man. Make you worth some more.
The one time I went for 143 in KL, my team placed 5th. So don't drop me for over 20K, and I think I make it to Grand.
But still, an incredible series here. I mean, Denji, we were praising you and really the rest of your team here, especially you for your flexibility on that tank role there.
What my record was that. Sorry, I saw someone posted what my record in BPL is.
Yeah, so Denji's 25-10 in BPL seasons here. That's what that is. But again, a lot of flexibility came out from you guys here, and everyone did play an insane series. But I want to ask this, and I know this is not necessarily a fun question to answer. Where do you guys think was the turning point in this series here for just Freefall to start their comeback?
We probably could have had Dorado, but there's a but Blues might
100% Dorado, mostly just us keeping on playing Cat Bastion when we could have just swapped ages ago.
We could have swapped third and like full cap Dorado. We could have held full. We could have full held first because we had a chokehold on first, and then Blues might cut out at like the worst time when he was calming a swing with Super, so Super didn't hear him say anything, and they both got killed.
Oh.
Yeah, so the entire time I was just kind of like on Bastion, no form, all 3 of them looking at me, and I was just so confused on why Blue was just standing there.
Just miscommunication happened. I did tell Donk to Sigmir me, and I did force him off of it at one point, so I got that under my belt. Where I kind of knew that was going to happen in the back of my head. I was like, Donk eventually is going to mirror me on Sig, right? And then he did.
Yeah, and honestly, a big contribution, to you and your success, I think, really leaned onto the supports. I know Chaos and Yuri, kind of exchanged the roles of the Kiriko and stuff like that. You think in the, hindsight, is there any other type of like support lineups that you're trying to lean on a little bit more heavily?
We tried in scrims to run non-Kiri comps in case somebody would ban Kiri, but then we kind of found out that all League teams outside of like one or two being like Patchy and maybe Yatagrasu were like super reliant on Kiri, so they weren't ever going to ban it.
It wasn't Yata. It wasn't Yata. It was Boundless.
Oh, I forgot about them. That's not being mean. I legit forgot about that one.
Oh, geez. Yeah, again, you guys have played your heart out. Is there any shout outs you guys want to give to anybody? Obviously, I know not the finish you're looking for the season, but still a really strong performance for you guys. I mean, second place amongst all these strong teams is still nothing to scoff at. So anybody in particular want to give a shout outs to?
Just the entire team. I knew the bulk of the team going. Super, Rock, and Yuri we didn't know, and they just slotted in perfectly to the lineup. Super really was like the diamond in the rough because we didn't really know that much about him when we drafted him, and he just became one of our like carry players. And just eventually I'll win a grand final in BPL.
Eventually.
Shout out to Taco.
Okay, I don't want to talk about him because he beat me last season.
All right. The real shout out here is to my boy Goblin Goobers, bro. Three of my real life teammates were in there. They hated me because of the cat bashing. We still love each other though.
That's where the casting actually started, was against Goblin Goobers in week 2 or 3.
That's how it originated.
It was on map 3, and Blue and Super were just like, you want to run Cat Bastion and Shamboli? And we pulled it out, and then the entirety of Goblin Goobers outside of Upriser just like wants to kill us. Especially, and Tyler really hates me. I still don't know why.
I just want to shout out everybody because I came back to the game for this season. Like I haven't played in a significant amount of time, and I played like older leagues, and I appreciate everybody from like helping me get up to speed. And I thought I was playing tank, but then I went to FDPS, and it kind of worked out. It kind of didn't, but I appreciate everybody, like Blue, Super, Yuri, Chaos, Denji, like everybody, Aiden. They all like chipped in to help me and learn. So appreciate it.
So big shout outs to Elvish, Soulknife. Congratulations on a second place finish. Obviously not the finish you're looking for, but still a very strong finish nonetheless. And big shout outs to everybody making their way back into it. That's another player that we're hearing that making the return after, the little wait, right? They took a little bit of a break from the game. They make their way back into it, and they're finding some success through it. So it's nothing short of like a storybook ending for a lot of these players that are making their way back into the game.
Yeah, I really wanted to be. This was the grand finals I wanted to win of all of them because it was against Para, who drafted me last season, and I got his team to grand finals then, and then I was up against them. I was like, plus Donk has beat me twice in grand final scenarios, so I really don't like the guy anymore.
Next year, bro. Next year.
Next season.
I'm not to be in B League if I want to follow Donk to get hit back and back at him.
But still, incredible season for you guys. The preseason champions, #1 seed coming into playoffs here, and still make it to the grand finals, a 7-map series. It could have gone either way, and it was just an incredible season for y'all here. And again, thank y'all so much for joining us here. But before we let y'all go for the night, any other shout outs you guys have?
I don't know. Well, there was no Ajax's deck, so you live another day.
Not in particular.
All right.
Shout out to my on the Aurora teammate rooting against me.
Oh my god! Yeah, we didn't expect them to go Antarctic. We thought they were gonna go Lijiang, and when they went to Antarctic, we were just like, okay.
Yeah, I think that's what definitely helped them out a little bit, just being a little unorthodox with how they approach the game. So hopefully we see you guys again in the near future. That's going to wrap it up for the C League for Season 8. Man, what an ending for tonight's set. I mean, went the distance decks. I mean, I couldn't tell you after that fourth map, it looks totally one-sided, and to see it kind of 180 and flip on its head, just nothing but absolute cinema.
And you could not have asked for a better series right there. And granted, Elvish Soulknife, they would love to come out on top of this series here. And I mean, like they said there, they would love to have Dorado back. And I think both Freefall and them would say like that was a turning point in this series. There are unfortunate things that the mic cut out there on a very crucial point, but sometimes stuff happens for reasons. Denji will probably get a championship here. Hopefully soon.
I mean, fingers crossed. That dude, again, 25-10. Across 3 seasons is not easy, especially when you're playing tank. It's one of those roles that's like super crucial to a lot of people. I mean, for a lot of teams, because I mean, you are like the soul of their team, whether you got to keep your team amplified, just keep them motivated, or to actually get them across that finish line. It all kind of leans on you, and you take a brunt of the blame as well if your team kind of falls short.
Yeah, and I don't think you could blame Denji at all tonight. I don't think you could. I don't think you could really blame anybody on Elvish here tonight. I don't think there was a single person that you could. I think it's just you saw Freefall come back in and be able to find ways to win fights, win maps here, extend this series, and they were able to do it here. But hey, that was only C League here for BPL, and it went 7. There are still a couple other leagues. Hell, there's still a lower bracket grand finals to happen here in A League as well. So make sure you tune in, because granted it was supposed to happen this weekend, but stuff comes up. A League and B League grand finals will be coming at some point this week, and those are going to be matches you are not going to want to miss. If grand finals start off with a 7-game series, hell, there will be an 8-map one.
It's inevitable at this point. There's nothing off the table. Everything is possible. Time is a flat circle, I try to tell people. So with that being said, that's actually going to wrap it up for us here tonight. So make sure you join the Discord so you can keep in touch and know exactly when BPL is going to be going live. They have 2 channels specifically just to help stream all of our matches, because we have so many strong teams locked and loaded. We're down to the final few, so it's up in the air on who's going to be able to take those last few leagues. Dex, dude, I had a blast tonight, man.
I mean, hey, 7 maps. Could not ask for any more than that. And give a shout out to everyone behind the scenes as well. Solomon, Jimmy. Crap, I have the page open. I want to make sure I get everyone right here. Solomon, Jimmy, Kothar, Knock, and Orange for doing everything throughout this one here, getting all the angles that you guys saw throughout the series here tonight. But like we said, make sure you tune in at some point in this coming week, because there are still 3 more games left in Season 8 of BPL that you are not going to want to miss.
See you guys next time.